Here we are. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, that's right. I'm wearing my Kiss shirt. Yeah, it's got some greens in it, so I will be mildly transparent at different points, but it's an effect. It's cool. It's something exciting, needless to say. It was quite the night. Those of you that tuned in this morning, I gave you a little bit of a recap, but it was a great time. Great time was had by all, and they sounded surprisingly good considering two members have COVID or have just gotten through it. Gene apparently tested positive, no symptoms, and they both been vaccinated, but he tested positive, but it literally didn't hit him. And then Paul got waylaid by it a little bit for about a week, and he hasn't had symptoms in something like 17 days or whatever, but you could tell he was still recovering from it. You know, I could tell he had lost a little weight from it, mostly from like sitting around doing nothing, drinking fluids. His speaking voice was rough, but his singing voice was great. It was a good time. This is the tour shirt. It's true. No, it's not. They're calling this the end of the road. It says the final tour forever. Largely because I believe, because it's called the End of the Road Tour. End of the Road, see that? There you go. That the End of the Road Tour is the beginning of the residencies. That's my theory. That instead of dragging a giant production all over the world, it is literally cheap and charging an inordinate amount of money to fans to do backstage stuff and all that kind of stuff, because the cost of this thing is like moving a Cirque show everywhere. The best thing to do is park it in Las Vegas for a couple of months or a couple of years or whatever, and then park it on Broadway for a year, and then park it in Paris, for 3 months, that kind of stuff, so that Europeans can come to that. Like that's, it's the smart money if you have a big show. So, I missed you all. I almost scheduled my vax. Almost. Well, I get at it. Anyway, so this is a proud concert tee, largely because it's from the actual. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people walking around in band T-shirts for bands they don't listen to at all. I'm talking to you, millennial girl with Rolling Stone lips shirt, or Guns N' Roses or Metallica wearing hipster. That if I asked you what your favorite song is, you'd go, what have I heard on the radio? What have I heard on the radio? What have I heard on the radio? That kind of thing. Those folks, This is when you actually go to the shows and you go to see the show. Yes, Gene and Paul both had COVID, but yeah. Anyway, so ta-da, it's the real deal, and it's yeah, there you go. It was a decent drive home, although I just rolled in hot. I got in about like 8 minutes before I had to turn everything on and get on the air. And one of my computers had last night was like, fine, if you're not going to be here, I'm not going to stay awake. So it had gone to sleep, it had taken a dirt nap, decided to shut itself off. So I had to restart it, and I'm like, come on, restart. That takes 7 minutes. Please take 5. And it kind of did. So I worked around it. I've got a couple of options. There's a bunch of stuff going on today. I have a pet peeve, and I've got to pull up, because like I said, I rolled in hot. Mandate text. Here we go. I need to, there it is, sir. Okay, so this is just so we can start off what we're gonna watch tonight. Hold on, I gotta switch over this business. Switch over to this thing, just so we know we're all on the same page. I would like to take you to the executive order on requiring coronavirus disease 2019 vaccinations for federal employees. This is, and by the way, when it comes to federal workers, they interact with every citizen. They have a special responsibility. They take an oath to serve and protect the country, to protect against all enemies, foreign and domestic, even down to the lowly postal worker, because if someone steals your mail, it's a federal offense. They are kind of a soft cop. They're the traffic cop of the Postal Service. By the authority vested in me as president, by the Constitution and the laws of the United States, including Section 3301, 3302, 7301 of Title V, United States Code, it is hereby ordered as follows. So, as the chief executive officer of the government and as the president of the United States, and considering that all the military service people are under the control of the civilian government in our country, and we would like to keep it that way, be a good idea. He has the right to say, yeah, you got to be vaccinated for this. It's the same shit when we talk about anthrax or other stuff that our soldiers have to be up against. If there's a contagious disease and a federal worker has to interact because they provide a service to the American people that is not optional, like FEMA, those folks need to be vaccinated. And if you're going to work for the federal government, you take a special order of risk and support of the country as a whole in a way that you don't as a private citizen or a private company. Period. Okay, so let's get to this. Section 1, policy. It is the policy of my administration to halt the spread of coronavirus 2019, including the B1617.2 Delta variant, by relying on the best available data and science-based public health measures. The Delta variant, currently the predominant variant of the virus in the United States, is highly contagious and has led to a rapid rise in cases and hospitalizations. The nationwide public health emergency, first declared by the Secretary of Health and Human Services on January 31st, 2020, remains in effect. See that little thing right there? During the Trump administration, they declared a public health emergency that's still ongoing. Therein lies the rub for all it's tyranny. Okay. First declared by the Secretary. If you have a problem with this, then as soon as Trump left office, anybody in the House or the Senate could have filed to remove the public health emergency thing rescind it. Didn't try. They didn't want to. That, first of all, because they knew they were running on an, we don't believe in COVID and the vaccine shouldn't be mandatory ticket, while just like Fox News being vaccinated and insisting on it for their employees and their staff. Okay. Then, let's see. Remains in effect, as does the national emergency concerning the coronavirus disease 2019, declared pursuant to the National Emergency Act in Proclamation 9994 in the honor of, Herman Cain. 999, and the other 4 right-wing talk show hosts who don't believe in vaccines, who all died of COVID. On March 13th, 2020, I wonder who was president then. I can't even remember. It was so long ago. Declaring a national emergency concerning the novel coronavirus outbreak. That's the title of the one that the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, within the Department of Health and Human Services, has determined that the best way to slow the spread of COVID and prevent infection by the Delta variant is to be vaccinated. COVID-19 vaccines are widely available in the United States and free. They're free. They protect people from getting infected and severely ill, and they significantly reduce the likelihood of hospitalization and death. As of the date of this order, one of the COVID-19 vaccines, the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine, also known as Comirnaty, which sounds terrible. Pfizer. I thought you guys, the pharmaceutical industry spends more money on friggin' PR and merch and just sales than any other industry, short of Exxon trying to convince you that they're a green company. And that's what they came up with for the name. It sounds like a combination of maternity, as in a woman hold a baby in the belly, and comorbidity, which is the dual link thing that will make you die when you get COVID. Comirnaty is a stupid name. I don't know. Pfizer, was there no one at the fucking meeting that was like, it's kind of, guys, no offense, but it sounds like you're killing pregnant women by giving them an extra disease. Also, it sounds kind of communisty to a lot of the right-wingers. So they're going to think this is a communistic maternity. They're trying to birth communism in your veins. See how this might be? Shut up, Larry. Okay. I was the one who told you that, you'd sell a lot more Rogaine if it didn't sound like Joe Rogan's last name. I'm just saying, dudes, there's nothing there. All right. Has received approval from the FDA, and 2 others, Moderna COVID-19 vaccine and the Janssen COVID-19 vaccine, have been authorized by the FDA for emergency use. The FDA has determined all 3 vaccines meet its rigorous standards for safety, effectiveness, and manufacturing quality. The health and safety of the federal workforce, listen to me, the workforce and the health and safety of the members of the public with whom they interact. Yeah, see that part? With the public, with whom they interact. That's why, federal employee, that you take on extra work that other people don't. If I have a restaurant and I'm worried about COVID, I can shut my fucking restaurant down and start a new one after this is all over. The federal government can't cease to work. So you take on a job, and thank you for it. So to federal workers, thank you for your service. And to anybody who's a federal worker who doesn't want to do all the job of being a federal worker, stop being a federal worker, especially if you're like anti-government or something. I've determined that ensuring the health and safety of the federal workforce and the efficiency of civil service requires immediate action to protect that federal workforce and individuals interacting with the federal workforce. Most of this is perfunctory anyways. Again, like most federal workers are on board with this. They're using this as a great opportunity. You know that thing where you can't broom people because of seniority and other stuff, where the Trump always complained that there was a, it's the swamp. It's the, now why am I blitzing on the establishment, the swamp? It's the deep state. That's what I was looking for. Deep state. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. I wasn't thinking deep enough. The deep state. One of the ways you could broom out the right-wing version of the deep state is a vaccine mandate. Now, again, this is just for federal workers, all right? So we'll get to the clips in a minute. I just want to preface. The Safer Federal Workforce Task Force, established by Executive Order 13991 as of January 20, 2021, protecting the federal workforce requiring mask wearing, has issued important guidance to protect the federal workforce and individuals interacting with the federal workforce, because if you work for the federal government, we don't want the Republican dream that federal workers become super spreaders and then people live the worst thing a person can hear is, I'm from the government and I'm here to help, so according yeah, you don't get to be a federal worker and they're like, we need help with our disaster relief. Please call someone to send another disaster to the area. Hi, Glenn, you're a fucking disaster. Get in here and help us move some timber, you bastard. All right. Section 2. Mandatory coronavirus disease 2019 vaccination for federal workers. Each agency shall implement to the extent consistent with applicable law. So this part is in everything. We see this shit in the Paris Climate Accord. We see it in every executive order that gets put out. So anybody's like, you're dictating how the government... All applicable law still applies. That's why you can fight these things in court and they don't have the weight of Congress behind them. You big dummies. It drives me crazy. They all say this. By the way, don't forget to like and subscribe, give a thumbs up and all this stuff, because who else explains this so thoroughly but yours truly, here to serve you, even after driving 8 hours in the last 24 and surviving a lightning storm at a KISS show last night. So, and still doing a show this morning before I hit the road. That's why I'm just showing you the love. All right. A program to require COVID-19 vaccination for all federal employees, with exceptions, only is required by law. The task force, like if you have a health problem and you can't do it, then you don't have to. If you have a pre-existing medical condition or a religious exemption, which means you can't do half the shit you're supposed to do as a federal worker anyways, then, which I don't know why the fuck you're doing it. I'm a sovereign citizen Christian prepper, but I do work for FEMA, like whatever. All right. Maybe we should hire some of the preppers, to just be like disaster preppers for FEMA. They just put them all in a little room, probably a basement, let them like doom scroll for us. Definitions for the purpose of the term agency means executive agency is defined by the term employee means an employee defined as this. The general provisions, nothing in this order shall be construed to impair or otherwise affect the authority granted by law to an executive department or agency or the head thereof. So if the authority granted to the law or executive department or agency goes, none of my people can do that because we deal with, we're on prepper outreach. And if they see a Band-Aid on your shoulder, they won't even talk to you. I don't know what that would be. But your boss can go, no, okay, I can't. I've got rules laying in place that I can't order vaccinations for my staff. I don't know where those would exist, but if they do, they're still there. The functions of the Director of Office of Management and Budget related to budgetary, administrative, or legislative proposals. So they can't make this a new part of the budget. They can't add expenditures or change the function of administration. They can't fire somebody and replace them with somebody that's this order shall be implemented consistent with the applicable law and subject to the availability of appropriation. So only if we can afford it and with applicable law. This order is not intended to, does not create any right or benefit, substantive, procedural, enforceable law under equity and bipartisan. This is always on here. And this part's always on here. So C and D is always on the tail end of this. Now, real quick, let me do this. Vaccine mandate, 100 employees or more. Now, this is tyranny. Tyranny. AP News. So, look at how this is being said. Now, see if you can spot smart people who are in my audience. See if you can spot the bullshit. This is these headlines are running all over the place. How many of you think that this sentence, sweeping new vaccine mandates for 100 million Americans, sweeping, because we're trying to clean up this mess, sweeping new vaccine mandates for 100 million, vaccine mandates, new vaccine mandates, it's a vaccine mandate, is it not? This is tyranny. Joe Biden is forcing the thing that 100 employees or more, and you are forcing needles into people's arms. It's a tyranny. Oh, we must water the tree of liberty. Right. This is what you're seeing all over the right-wing blogosphere. How many of you think that this is actually a vaccine mandate? Huh? How many? Because I'll tell you. Shall we read on? Because every article is going to be exactly the same. You ready? Vaccine mandate. In his most forceful pandemic actions and words. Wait, hold on. I'll blow this up for you. Actions and words. They are forceful. President Joe Biden on Thursday ordered sweeping new federal vaccine requirements for as many as 100 million Americans, private sector employees, as well as healthcare workers and federal contractors, in an all-out effort to curb the surge of COVID-19 Delta variant. Speaking of the White House, Biden sharply criticized tens of millions of Americans who are not yet vaccinated. Fine, fuck them. We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin. Your refusal has cost all of us. The unvaccinated minority can cause a lot of damage, and they are. Republican leaders, some union chiefs too, said Biden's going too far in trying to muscle private companies and workers a certain sign of legal challenges to come. Because it's a legal challenge. Now, who thinks, remember my third paragraph rule when we look at an article? Always, when you see the headline, you do go down to the third paragraph. A lot of times the AP will chop it up into smaller chunks so that people can pick and choose. In this case, it is in the, where is it? Yeah, it is in the one, two, let's group these together in chunks. These are three. Yeah, we're at two. I'll do 3, 4. We'll call it fifth. The expansive rules. Here it is, kids. Wait for it. Here's the vaccine mandate. This is the tyranny. Listen for the tyranny. Here comes. You ready for the tyranny? Here comes the tyranny. Here comes the tyranny. The expansive mandate. Mandate that all employers with 100 workers require them to be vaccinated or test for the virus weekly. So the mandate in anyone's reading of anything would be the minimum requirement to continue to do business. The optional shit is optional. Getting vaccinated is optional in this mandate. The mandate is, or get tested weekly. It's a testing weekly mandate. For fuck's sake, everyone in the media is calling it this. Look at the title of this. Every goddamn article about this Millions of workers, Biden's new mandate. Biden boosts vaccine requirements for large employers. This is softer from Wall Street Journal because they know what they're talking about. Biden announced vaccine mandates that could cover 100 million people. There's CNN. Announces vaccine mandates. Federal rule to require business with 100 million. Vaccine mandate. Biden, here's CBS. Biden announces COVID-19 vaccine mandate. The mandate is for federal workers because they interact with people. This is my favorite one of the whole thing. This doesn't quite make for big, fiery headlines. Biden asks OSHA to order vaccine mandates at large employers. The agency is expected to issue an emergency temporary standard to carry out the requirement to affect more than 80 million workers, 80 million people in a business of 100 more. Now, do you think in this article, how long does it take before we get to test weekly? Test weekly. New federal regulations call for business with more than 100 workers to require vaccinations against the coronavirus. Will affirm mandates already in place at many companies give employers the cover the employers have yet to employers that have yet to decide. The proposed rules, which Biden will require workers to be inoculated, require workers to be inoculated. Oh, the tyranny! Tyranny. He's a tyranny. I'm tired of his tyranny. Why can he tyranny? Or face weekly testing. And we'll mandate that businesses offer employees paid time off to get vaccinated if they lose a day because they're sick because they didn't like it. Biden suggests to OSHA that they might want to have a vaccine mandate or make the employees get tested weekly. You can just hear the right wing fear penis go limp. Just listen. That's not tyranny, but it's not tyranny. Oh, but yes, it is. Because do you think anybody's actually reading 3 fucking paragraphs down in this shit? Do you think anybody? This is from the speech. Our patients swearing thin. It's a bold speech. All that kind of stuff. Mr. Biden also moved to mandate shots for healthcare worker, federal contractors, vast majority of federal workers. Right, vast majority. I mean, obviously, if there's an out for you in your contract, that's what fucking okay. Announced in a White House speech. Together, we've been patient. Blah blah blah. We can turn the tide on COVID-19. Businesses. Look, I love this. Look This is New York Times. New York Times. Pow! What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you trying to get people killed? Because if they believe that the mandates are tyranny or that tyranny is a mandate and there isn't actually a vaccine mandate and you're telling them there is, they're like, it is tyranny. Even the New York Times thinks so. And believe me, these articles are being quoted all over the right-wing vlogosphere. And therefore, more people are like, this is more tyranny from the Biden administration. I don't fucking hell. And the link right here. Under his plan, private sector, and this is a hyperlink, businesses that have 100 or more employees will have to require vaccine. Not part of the hyperlink because it takes the blue out of it or mandatory weekly testing. Oh, every fucking week. Oh, wait, it's not even every 3 goddamn days. Once a week, you have to get tested for COVID or get vaccinated. God damn it. I don't know why no one is pointing this out. Everybody is letting this bullshit story ride. Everyone. NBC, CNN, MSNBC, certainly Fox, Newsmax, OAN, all of them. Biden's tyrannical vaccine mandate. It's not a vaccine mandate. It's a COVID testing mandate because that's the bare minimum. And even then, it's a request through OSHA. Fucking hell. You do not have to get the vaccine in this new mandate. You don't. You should. It's smart, but you don't. This has been driving me fucking bananas for the last 24 hours. I'm enjoying a rock concert. I'm having a great time. Back of my head is this anger gerbil. Just, God damn it, it's not a vaccine mandate. Oh, we hit 666 in the chat room at YouTube, on YouTube. Thanks, guys. Yay, congratulations. If you want to donate $6.66 through a super chat, it's a good moment to do it. And if only for the fact that I'm pretty sure I'm the only person bringing this up. Honest to God. Lawrence O'Donnell, there's still time. Someone tweet Rachel Maddow before her show starts. It's not a vaccine mandate. It's a weekly testing mandate. And it's not even a mandate, it's a request for OSHA to do it. It isn't. And it's not about, well, should there be mandates? That's another argument. Shut the fuck up and don't even have the argument. That's not what's happening here. And when you have an argument that it's allegedly happening, thank you so much, Luis. If you have the argument that mandate should be, maybe we should have a mandate, that you're missing the fucking point. This is not one. And somebody just said they think being tested is a form of sexual assault. Well, I don't know who gets aroused from a Q-tip up the nose, but you do you, boo. My problem is I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. Well, a couple of people, because we know who they are. No. But in general, everything within the consensual realm of adults, we're okay. Yes, the anger gerbil. It's gonna be like, I need a sip of water. Hold on. Yeah, I would definitely yuck Rudy's yum. I sneezed while I was laughing. How sorry, you are the only one pointing out. Thank you, David. Why am I? Why the fuck am I the only person pointing this out? It is not. And watch, we have a couple of videos. Like I said, I don't pre-watch these goddamn things, and you know I'm gonna get off. Oh boy, I'm gonna get all. I'm gonna get today. I can feel it. I can feel it because it's tyranny. It's tyranny. Why is it tyranny? How much tyranny can we take? It's tyranny. Tyranny. Fucking hell. Hold on. Because I do need to get this. I think there's a. Where is it? There you go. I'm scrolling through something. I want to find something. Yeah, here it is. Let's just go straight with this bullshit right here. Hold on.
On this Friday morning.
Here we go. So let's not only, we got a double dip here. And I do mean double dip. I guess it would be a triple dip, considering there are 3 dips in this scenario. In all honesty, I don't know what the intellectual capacity of the female host of Fox and Friends is, because I don't watch enough of it to make she's a dipshit or she's a fraud judge about a lot of but insofar as Kilmeade and Ducey, they're both dumb. They're genuinely stupid. Ben Shapiro's not stupid, he's a liar. And will more than likely, I'm guessing from the title of this, we're going to see a whole shit ton of lying. Okay, Ben Shapiro plans legal fight against Biden's tyrannical, there's the word, vaccine mandate. It's a tyrannical vaccine mandate. Tyrannical, it's the tyranny. Ben Shapiro, right-wing Disney mouse, is going to, well, let's just watch. Yeah.
President's speech last night at 5, a lot of American businesses are trying to figure out, okay, I've got more than 100 employees. What am I going to do?
You're either going to give them time off to get vaccinated if they want to get vaccinated, or you're going to require them to show you that they've gotten tested every week. That's what you're going to do. And it's a temporary order because it's in line with the emergency declaration. So once we're through this, the emergency declaration will expire. It's not going to be a permanent emergency declaration. That's what you're going to do. If you're not a fucking moron, you heard the speech, looked at it, and went, oh, okay. Yeah. I got 120 employees. Okay, guys, let me know if you're vaccinated. I got to write down a thing on your card. They'll ask us about it. And if you don't want to get vaccinated, I need you to get tested once a week. Mondays are good. We'll give you time off to do it. It's free. Go do it.
They're going to require the vaccine. Let's talk to one business.
I'm sorry. They're going to what? They're going to what, shithead?
Am I going to require the vaccine? Let's talk.
Well, that's up to you if you believe in it. If you're not a moron. If you actually want your employees to live, for example.
One business guy, Ben Shapiro, is a host of.
Please tell me what? We're going to go to the Daily Wire, has more than 100 employees. Look, a Macedonian troll farm that retweets your shit does not count as employees under the mandate.
Ben Shapiro show. He's also the editor emeritus.
He's also an expert in sitting like a teen supervillain in the darkest version of High School Musical ever made. Look at this shit. Yes. Do you expect me to talk? No, I expect you to listen to my high-pitched voice. You know what? Shoot me now.
Of the Daily Wire.
Can I have the laser? Just kill me. Just slice me in half.
Ben, your company's got over 100 employees, so what are you going to do? Are you going to listen?
Yeah, I don't, technically, we're going to need to know just for the scorecard, are they adults? or do they all live in a tree?
President, everybody going to roll up their sleeves, or are you going to take a different approach?
Of course not. We're going to use every method and resource at our disposal to.
You're just going to make your folks get tested. By the way, I'm going to call bullshit on this. We're going to use every method at our disposal to not tell them that all of our people are vaccinated. Because if we have to tell the government or a list that we've qualified, someone can look that up and then people will know we're bullshitting them. Same thing as fucking Fox News. Everybody at Fox News is vaccinated. These assholes are vaccinated. All the staff are vaccinated. Can't even come in the goddamn building if you're not vaccinated. Same thing's true with the Daily Wire. This is bullshit. But Fox, that cat's out of the bag. But probably at the Daily Wire, they're skating by on the illusion. No, we don't. We're not doing vaccines. Are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. What's in your glass? Pfizer. Mm-hmm. Sweet, sparkling Pfizer. Mm-hmm.
By the president's unconstitutional order. And this is coming from somebody who's very pro-vaccine. I was vaccinated as soon as possible.
Everybody in this fucking company is. This is noise.
Urged everybody to get the vaccine, or pretty much everybody to get the vaccine.
Pretty much. Yeah. And everybody at your company got vaccinated or they couldn't come to work, and you don't want people to know you have a vaccine mandate at the Daily Wire.
And the notion that the federal government has the ability to force every business in America with over 100 employees. By the way, I'm not sure why it's over 100 employees. Theoretically, it should be every business in America because you can get infected anyway.
Because they don't have the means and wherewithal to excuse those employees from pay while they go work. So there'll be a different standard if you have less than 100 employees, then you can't be forced to give time off. There's you can rotate. If you have 100 employees, the idea is that you can rotate people out if they go get the second jab and they're down for a day. If you have less than 100, you don't. So you have to come up with some other way of doing it. So it's not a mandate. You'll reach those people through other means. They don't have the ability necessarily financially to do it. Businesses with over 100 employees do.
Right, but every business in America.
Please, Ben, try to sound as little like Porky Pig as possible during this interview. I can't unsee it.
Theoretically, it should be every business in America because you can get infected anywhere. Right, but every business in America.
That's all, Ben. All right.
With over 100 employees to eat.
Now I can't get the vision of Ben Shapiro having a tiny curly tail out of my head. This is frightening. This is the death of my imagination. This is dying right now.
Force its employees to vaccinate or force them to test every week or fire them, presumably. Mm-hmm. He said he came into office saying, I'm not going to shut down the economy. I'm not going to shut down the country.
Yeah, they're not. and this is not an untoward financial burden for any of these companies. There's excessive UI. If they have a burden, they can apply for funds to help for it. I got to rotate. I got 3,000 employees. I got to rotate them all out, and that's going to take me X, Y, Z. They get this many of them have a debt. I need a PPP loan that will be turned into a grant for it. There's all. I mean, this is just, oh God.
Shut down the virus. He failed to shut down the virus, so now he's going to shut down the economy in the country. Apparently.
Well, Ben.
Apparently, with a mandate that's not a mandate. We're going to shut down the country how? By asking OSHA?
They say that he says, Joe Biden, businesses who refuse will be fined $14,000 per violation. Your CEO said that you will use legal action to resist in a tweet. Are you prepared for this?
Yes. Sue the federal government for your violation of emergency management orders. In the same way that somebody who decides to stay behind and loot property, like, hey, I'm not following a forced evacuation. Well, part of it is not because you're going to die, but because some people survive and then they go and steal shit from everybody's house. We need everybody out. Like, no, I'm not. Okay. And then you steal shit and you go to jail and like, I'm getting a lawyer. Of course you are.
We are. I mean, we are staffing up right now on the legal side. We are already getting any lawsuit ready that needs to be gotten ready. We have to see the.
We're going to get any lawsuit ready that might be gotten ready. I would file one with Warner Brothers cartoons if I were you, for stealing your voice and turning it into a cartoon pig. I'm never going to be able to not, from now on, I'm not going to be able to shake it. I can't. I'm not wrong.
Regulations, the details of that lawsuit.
I can't. It sounds exactly like Porky Pig. Jesus Christ.
Tell you is that the provisions that Joe Biden is going to be citing under OSHA are wildly overbroad. And frankly, I think that he's made a huge tactical legal blunder here. I think there's every possibility that something like this goes to the Supreme Court level. And suddenly we see a complete rewriting of the administrative state because Joe Biden couldn't get his act.
Yeah. That's what's going to happen. We're going to totally dismantle emergency management orders because they overreached in giving people the option to get vaccinated or test during a pandemic, when the government will pay for it. Yeah, the overstepping. I mean, this is straight up Kim Jong-un. I don't even know.
In order. And so he decided to issue a tyrannical and authoritarian order here.
It's tyrannical. I thought it was tyrannical, but you're gonna hit the tie really hard. I on behalf of Ty Tabor, one of the greatest living guitar players, I take offense at that. And I think you owe him an apology, and I'm going to sue you for violating my social justice.
Also, you had an interesting tweet, which is getting a lot.
Yeah. Well, are the letters tiny? Are they high pitched? When you read his texts, do you picture Porky Pig? I'm sorry.
News when you said maybe if we tell Joe Biden that the Taliban isn't vaccinated, he'll get just as mad at them. Does it astound you in all seriousness that his anger is?
Yeah, that's not in all seriousness. And by the way, if the Taliban were here in mass killing people in red states at the rate that the unvaccinated are, I would join my right-wing brothers in being concerned. And sister.
Is focused on the unvaccinated in America, as small a percentage as that is, and not on the terrorist regime.
Sorry, a smaller percentage? It's like 80 million people. And not the terrorists. Yes, I am not concerned. Terrorism is not contagious. It can't sneak into the country and infect people across 19 different states with something that will put them on a ventilator. Not the Taliban, anyways. I mean, terrorism in general might be able to do that, but there's just no way you get a busted Black Hawk helicopter that belonged to the Brits that was left behind for the Afghans, and fly that all the way across the Atlantic Ocean and put, a shit ton of Trump voters in the hospital.
That has taken over a country and the embarrassment that he's caused.
By the way, you do realize that the Delta variant has taken over a bigger part of our country than the Taliban has taken over of Afghanistan, technically. The whole all of Afghanistan is 28 million people. It's like 80 million people who are either sick or spreading, or are going or could be because they're not vaccinated in almost all red states.
Our nation.
We're not even a year into this presidency, and this is a failed president on every level. And so he's attempting.
Well, I mean, obviously the stock market, and obviously, unemployment's down to 5.2%, which used to be like a number we would shoot for in normal times, even still. And of course, lots of people, child poverty, lowest it's ever been. Extending the child tax credit, those kind. That's not necessarily. I wouldn't consider that a failure. And blue states doing pretty solid as far as getting their numbers down, and even in the areas where they have trouble, those are the red state voters in their states. So failure on every level. I mean, obviously, I think he's in. There's one area where I think Ben would have to admit that Biden is not a failure, and that is completely erasing the Trump administration from existence.
To redirect all of the ire at his presidency at your fellow Americans. You're supposed to be angry at your neighbor for unvaccinating if you're vaccinated, even though Joe Biden.
Yeah, the unvaccinating people are the worst. The people who were vaccinated and then stop. Ugh. Don't get me started on unsweetened tea.
Himself yesterday said that your unvaccinated neighbor effectively poses no threat to you. Instead, Joe Biden wants you to be angry at that neighbor as opposed to him. Here's the reality. If you don't like lockdowns, if you don't like mandates, look at the person who's attempting to issue the lockdown and the mandates. The person who's...
What the fuck are you talking about? If you don't like hurricanes blowing your house away, blame the weatherman. What the fuck are you talking about? Well, that's the logic now. If you don't like crime, get rid of all the cops. Says Ben Shapiro. If you don't, if you don't like, running out of gas, blame Elon Musk's Tesla vehicles. What?
Attempting to control American business top down, who's attempting to control every...
Top down? They don't give a fuck what you do in your business, just that your employees don't die while they're doing it. And even then, it's like, we'd rather they not die. But if you're going to be an asshole and just, we set the testing at once a fucking week. Once a week, imagine how easy you have to have it in a country. Imagine that this is like, tyranny.
School in America, top down. Maybe you should direct your ire at that person, not the person living next door.
Speaking of next.
Well, most people don't live next door to an anti-vaxxer if they're vaccinated. There's a lot of this is a regional problem. It's not neighbors. It's sections of the country and the leaders around those people. And it's not even, the vast majority of the people who are getting, in these states who enact these laws. It's a hair's breadth margin.
You used to live in California. You have since moved to a freer state than that, a lower tax state as well. I wanted you to weigh in.
What state would that be? Texas? It's certainly free of a solid energy grid. It's not free of intermittent heating during a winter storm. It is free of one thing: a senator that doesn't fuck off to Mexico every time children are dying in a winter storm. That's obviously it's definitely pegging the needle on that factor.
Fact that coming up next week, they're going to have the recall election of Gavin Newsom in California. He very famously pretty much locked down all.
Pretty much, and weirdly, the state's doing very, very well. Huge state. Texas has overtaken it in deaths.
California. Larry Elder is surging in the polls, but he...
No, he's not. Surging in the polls. In a pile of losers, he's the most buoyant turd. That is... There's who is he up against? It's like 47 nincompoops. He's got 7%. Surging in the polls. Vote no on the recall if you haven't already. Most have.
Essentially accosted. Let's see. It would have been on.
Oh, a woman threw. Is this I didn't see this. Did a woman throw an egg at him? He got egged.
Say Venice Beach, where a woman, screen right, in a gorilla mask with a pink wig, tries to hit him in the head with an egg. Watch this.
What's your reaction?
Here's Larry.
What is your reaction? Don't throw eggs and hit people? What the fuck should be your reaction? Who cares? What's she supposed to be, like a Democratic operative? She's from the AO's, the squad's egg brigade. Fuck off. She's a lunatic. Who cares?
Last night on Tucker.
She doesn't even have a good throwing arm. She missed entirely. He's got an enormous head, just like I do. You can't miss that. I love how the guy next to her, like next to Larry Elder.
Watch this.
What's your reaction?
Watch the guy next to him. Watch him dodge it.
Larry Elder
Whoa.
last night on Tucker.
Whoa, egg. Here, Larry, there's eggs. There's eggs being thrown. Please get to the side.
Watch.
She might be one of the 20,000 people that were released early from our prisons, felons, many of whom were violent offenders under this governor. You know, if I were a Democrat, obviously, this would be called systemic racism. They'd be calling it a hate crime. I don't like to play that game. Do know this.
You just did. You had your cake and ate it too. And it's full on racist. She's wearing a gorilla mask, throwing an egg at a black politician. Fuck her. Who cares? No. Do not support. What difference does that make?
Big article about me, a negative in the New York Times, and never once mentioned that I'm black, never once mentioned that I would be the first black governor of California. I never made a big deal out about that. I don't want people to vote for me.
But he is now, because he knows he's going to lose and he needs every possible percentage. He's trying to, this would be a bamboozle, I suppose.
Because I'm black. But on the very same page of the New York Times, there was a big article about the, quote, first female governor of New York, close quote. Even though she didn't get elected, she was basically appointed because the other governor resigned. So they cared about the first when it was a female Democrat. But
well, she actually got the job. That'll be the difference. Yes, she was appointed, but it's just, that's just how it ended up happening. And a lot of the articles were about, like, it's about time and why wasn't there one elected earlier? It's and she seems a qualified individual to hold down the job. But most of the articles were like, why hasn't that happened by election until now? And now, after she was sworn in, she became the first female. That's news. You don't have the job yet, dum-dum. Good luck. But don't pat yourself on the back.
Give a rip about it the first when it was a black Republican.
You haven't got the job. She got the job. You haven't gotten the job. You would be. You're not the first black person to run. Pretty sure. Might even be some other black people in the 47 other people that are running with you. What about them? Wouldn't they also be the first? Why aren't you bringing them in this conversation? Not that you'd want to do. Whatever.
Ben, there seems to be a double standard in this country when it comes to...
Yeah, Ben always has to deal with a double standard.
Well, of course. I mean, if Larry Elder were a Democrat, we know it would have been front page news. There would have been talk about how this white woman throwing an egg at a black man was just evidence that nothing has changed over the past 150 years. But because Larry's a Republican and Larry's a conservative/libertarian, this means that...
that she's making, there's belief that she might be making the point that she believes he's a racist. And that, he's somehow posturing. And that's where I don't care. I don't know what her motivations are, but that's what mucks it up.
Is the actual white supremacist, according to op-ed writers for the Los Angeles Times, and the woman who is throwing eggs at him while wearing a gorilla mask is an anti-racism activist. It's very strange how none of the standards seem to hold as soon as the target...
Yeah, she's a lunatic.
...is a conservative.
Do you, if Larry Elder is leading amongst the 40 plus.
Yeah, of the 40 plus. Yes, he's the most buoyant turd in the punch bowl. Yes.
Who are trying to be there should he be recalled. But are you amazed at $70+ million that poured in? The president, the vice president coming into campaign, Elizabeth Warren. Are they getting panicked?
And they're certainly scared. I mean, Gavin Newsom has poured 10 times the amount of money as Larry has into this campaign to prevent him.
That's because he's actually got to run a real campaign while anybody amongst the 47 just has to run an either or. They're running an outrun the bear campaign. Gavin Newsom's entire thing has to be to win these actual overall election. Everybody in the 47 just has to outrun everybody else. Like, I don't have to outrun the bear. I just have to outrun you. That's what they're running. That's why the recall campaign is so fucking dumb. It's why you can have a governor of California who won 12% of the state. It's ridiculous.
From being recalled in a state that is entirely Democratic. Remember, there is a super...
Right. Yes, we would be concerned that someone that only gets 12% of the vote becomes the governor of a democracy, of a state, specifically, that's like the 9th largest economy in the world.
In the legislature for Democrats. It's essentially a one-party state, and now Gavin Newsom is in danger of being recalled, which just demonstrates how a guy who is widely perceived as a possible presidential nominee in the future has now collapsed in on himself like a dying star because he's been such
a dying star. It's sometimes when he flips through his analogy book in the morning and goes, check, I need to use that one. A dying star. It looks like he's going to hold on to his seat, and he'll use the fact that he won the recall. He faced a recall and won it as an actual excellent reason why he might run for office.
Or governor of the state, and all of the bad governance over the past 10 years, the same stuff that drove me and my company out of the state, is now coming back to haunt the Democrats.
Yeah.
So,
no, what drove you and your company out of the state is the fact that you were following the Rogan money, and everybody was going to Texas because Abbott and them were giving you incentives to move there, media companies specifically, to create this illusion that Texas is a good place for business to move. So, but why don't you tell everybody about those incentives? Why don't you? No? You don't want to, kind of that baseball money where they're like, build a stadium, we'll pay for it. That kind of thing. You're not going to bring that up at all? No?
there's a whistleblower inside Google that's reportedly saying they're undergoing anti-racism training, white supremacy training, and or to how to prevent.
Yeah, preventing white supremacy training. Yeah, they're not going anti-racism training and white supremacy training. I don't know what kind of sandbag to golden idol Raiders of the Lost Ark shit is happening there. You used to be a racist. Like, you're no longer a racist. You're a full-on white supremacist. Congratulations. But I'm Indian. I know. That's what we were working on. That's why you
white supremacist. It features you at the base of this pyramid. It's called the White Supremacy Pyramid. Features you at the base.
Are you upset you aren't higher? What part is he in? Minimization. White savior complex. Not all white people. Not believing people of color experiences. Busting the myth of white genocide in South Africa. What? The White Supremacy Pyramid. All lives matter, indifference, whatever. Oh, good Lord.
Before it works its way up to.
Is that like veiled racism? And they've got so Trump makes it twice. There's a Trump version, and then there's a Pepe Trump. And then there's some guy in a headset. And I'm not familiar with this crowd entirely. These are murderers and violence at the top, obviously. And then there's a steep drop off. It doesn't quite make a full even pyramid, I would guess. Gavin McInnes. Don't know who that is. Yeah, I'm sad. I'm not as familiar with. I don't know who his running buddy is. Is that I don't know. Is that Steven Crowder's trainer or something? And then All Lives Matter, just a sticker gets a whole level to itself. The whole thing's founded on anybody who's All Lives Matter.
Individuals. What is your reaction to this?
It's pathetic that the most powerful company on planet Earth, because Google is the most powerful company on planet Earth in terms of informational dissemination.
I'm guessing there's some military contractors that would disagree.
Conveying misinformation and lies to its own employees. And it's just demonstrative of the fact that corporations have gone woke because they are filled with cowards or are afraid of the radical left, because there's nothing remotely related to reality in this presentation. I am an Orthodox Jew. I've been extraordinarily outspoken against.
Yeah, and no one who belongs to who's Orthodox in a religion has ever been known to be racist or bigoted against another person. That never happens. That doesn't mean you are a racist, Ben, but that's not an automatic out. As a matter of fact, the orthodoxy itself is in many ways incompatible with full democracy, because you have strict rules that, were you to be in a position of power, would mean that you would have to govern based on it. It's why we've never had an Amish president.
supremacy to the point where the FBI had to arrest somebody 2 years ago for threatening my family, a white supremacist. Nonetheless, Google pushing this kind of stuff just demonstrates what utter yellow-bellied cowards they are. It's unbelievable.
Well, Ben, have you?
Well, technically speaking, Alphabet uses a lot of different colors, so I think they've got a rainbow belly as far as.
No, okay, so that's what they're doing with their training of their employees. But
by the way, can I remind everyone, this video is 7 minutes and 41 seconds long this second. Ben Shapiro plans legal fight against Biden's tyrannical vaccine mandate. He bullshitted about this for about a minute and a half. Can we jump to the next one? Let's see. This one, yeah. The Biden, let's see. Yeah, okay, here we go. This is Greg Kelly. How dare you? How dare you? Tough talking Biden thinks he can order everyone around. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. He's so mad all the time. I'm at the point where Greg Kelly's anger just makes me laugh. It's so fun. Just he starts everything just. What do you think we're gonna see? We're gonna get to see this portion of Greg Kelly's head most of this clip. What do you think? What do you think? By the way, don't forget to like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Support in any way you can. Patreon.com/HalSparks. There's also a Venmo right there. I don't have my phone in front of me, so I might not see it during the show, but thank you if you Venmo during the show. And yeah, all proceeds go to support the show and keep us running and keep us alive and all that kind of stuff. Radio tomorrow, of course, will be on the anniversary of 9/11, so we'll be talking about that, but also other elements at 9 a.m. Pacific time. That's every Saturday, 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific time, the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide. This is just Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide because I'm reaching everywhere on the planet. The beauty of the interwebs. Even people in China using a VPN. Yes, I see you. And I thank you for your messages. And I understand. Okay, so this is, I'm sorry. And then I go and look at the screen again. There's Greg Kelly's face, and I can't not laugh. He's gonna, how dare you? Oh, the tyranny of the tyranny. How much tyranny can one man take? Okay, hold on. Okay,
possibly.
Wait a minute, hold on.
The least impressive, possibly impaired president I have ever seen.
Yeah, I, you know, how could you?
You miss free health care for illegal.
Yeah, yeah, it's terrible.
Came out tonight and is ordering Americans to get the COVID vaccine. Ordering us. Whatever happened to my body, my choice? Remember that?
Well, nobody's ordering abortions, by the way. There is a slight difference. It's a choice when it comes to the my body, my choice thing is the choice to have one, if you want one. So the idea would be is there, like, for this analogy to work, Greg, and for all the dum-dums out there, especially Greg, for your analogy work about the my body, my choice, there would have to be a vaccine available, and the government of certain states was trying to pass laws stopping you from getting the vaccine. Not just, giving you, because there's a lot of mandated vaccines. If your kids go to public school, for example, they got to get a measles vaccine. They got to get whooping cough. And I got one. So, when my kid was going to preschool so that I wouldn't bring it in.
Joe Biden is talking tough. Now, there's a reason for this. Hey, we don't think he has the authority to do this, by the way.
Yeah, he does, actually. We looked it up. I already showed it. It's under the emergency. Here it is. Under sections 3301, 3302, 7301 of Title V of the United States Code, he's got the right to do that. And he's got the right to do that because Trump signed an emergency declaration about coronavirus last year and an ongoing supplement to that. So he does have that power, and Trump gave him that power last year. Just in case you're wondering.
But
the R's 4 minute super chat. Greg Rusty Trombone Kelly likes it both ways. Well, we're aware of this.
He is pretending, at least.
I'm announcing that the Department of Labor is developing an emergency rule to require all employers with 100 or more employees that together employ over 80 million workers to ensure their workforces are fully vaccinated or show a negative test at least once a week.
There you go. There goes the whole fucking tyranny thing out the window. Or you got to show a negative test once a week. under this emergency declaration, which is temporary and will have to be upped, and you could get rid of it in Congress with a simple pass of it, and nobody wants to keep it unless it's there, and nobody's good. It's not going to be like the AUMD. I don't fucking hell. How could you look up Shapiro's 2015 rant about anti-vaxxers? Ooh, yeah. That's a great idea. Yeah. It's a testing mandate, you pricks.
I happen to be vaccinated because it was my choice. All right.
All right. Uh-oh. Greg just lost some viewers. Right at home right now, there's a bunch of people going boo at their laptops. Or, well, their old desktops. Their Dells. They're in their shed, eating beans out of a can, ready to get their rage boner on, watching their nightly injection of Greg Kelly. And then I got vaccinated. Just spit beans all over the fucking screen. There are so many laptops covered in beans right now. Jesus Christ! Wait, did he just say what I thought he said? I can't. Give me a second. That mental image just worked for me. It just hit the, you know, when it just, a mental image just manages to land right on the funny bone. Oh, God. Because I can see this dude. He's got the extra big tin. It's Franken beans. He's just, he knows every fourth bite's going to have a little chunk of wiener in it. And he's just excited about it. Eating it cold like a fucking man. Sitting in the shed because the wife gives him shit. And she's got the kids in the house all vaccinated. And he's sitting in there just all over his fucking thing. Oh, God. Thank you, the artist formerly known as Greg. We have gateways. Yeah. Oh, they got Freedom PCs, man. Freedom PC. You can wipe beans off the screen. Well, you have to understand, I'm watching this stuff live with you. When I have these mental things, it's not like I wrote a joke and like I'm so clever. It just popped into my head and it's fucking funny. That's I wish I had a GIF where I could just cover his whole fucking face in beans. Hold on, wait. There's got to be a way to do this. No, probably not. This. It would have to be in here. Please give me a second. Please just bear with me. What in the world? I'm on working. Right. Okay, this will have to do, I think. Hold on. Yeah. Oh, God. Can I do this? Hold on. Please just give me cover. Hold on. Yeah, that's it. Hold on. There you go. And then, wait, just give me a second. Give me a second. I'm making my own clip art right now. Oh, God. It's going to have to be a bean meme from now on. Because every time some right-winger, somebody, like the dude who said you can't believe Fox is vaccinated. Shit. You have to, like, every time, like, he said, oh, hold on. I mean, he says something wrong. You just gotta like, oh my God. Just. Oh God. I'm sorry. Thanks for bearing with me. Beans for my family. Oh God. Oh, that's good stuff. All right, here we go. I'll get back to work in a second. I'm sorry. Oh, got it. He's so fucking miserable. Hold on. It's okay. Hold on. There we go.
Week.
I happen to be vaccinated because it was my choice, all right? And it's your choice as well. Joe Biden doesn't get to tell me or you what to do with our bodies. I think we...
Well, I think Jill would disagree on occasion, and and he's not telling you what to do. He's requesting it and giving you an option if you don't want to. I know it's not sexy, but it's got teeth.
Free. And guess what? A lot of lawyers do as well. More on that in a moment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Remember when Republicans thought being litigious and suing everybody was shitty behavior?
Stop.
I will sign an executive order that will now require all executive branch federal employees to be vaccinated. All. And I've signed another executive order that will require
all executive branch federal employees. And of course, he's talking about past and future. So we're going to hold down Trump and inoculate him again, apparently. We're going to inoculate Stephen Miller. I think with that silver garlic mix that Blade used.
For contractors to do the same. If you want to work with the federal government and do business with us, get vaccinated.
So that's about 4 million people in addition to the 80 million people.
So 4 million more people who aren't going to die.
Well, he thinks he can boss around.
He's the fucking president of the United States. And they are currently legally constructing the rule to meet current legal requirements. Boss people around. Motherfucker, he's the president. This is from an asshole who's still taking orders from Trump in exile.
My message to unvaccinated Americans is this. What more is there to wait for? What more do you need to see? We've made vaccinations free, safe, and convenient. The vaccine is FDA approval. Over 200 million Americans have gotten at least one shot. We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin.
He lost a war last week.
We didn't lose a fucking war, and stop shitting on our troops. We didn't. We didn't lose a war. We left. What the hell? Because they're men conditioning you to take care of them. Oh, for God's sake. Piss off with that nonsense, Sherry. Mark of the beast. Grow up.
And his patience is wearing thin. His patience.
Yeah, well, he's got a short temper. He's Irish.
Is wearing thin. Yes, just last week, the scenes from...
And by the way, Greg Kelly has no patience. I'm a shill, right?
Afghanistan.
For health and safety, yeah, it's terrible.
And they are desperately trying to change the subject. And
again, he's using this fucking footage because he thinks it's a win. And watch this dancing, Taliban Smurf over here.
But it seems to be working. It seems
like, dude, start the footage right there. I don't know why. Maybe do they have to play the whole clip if they play the clip at all? Is that the price of paying for it?
Working, even though we still...
I risk my life for that goddamn phone footage. You're going to play the whole goddamn thing.
Americans there right now. Can't get them out. We are powerless, it seems, to do so.
We're getting people out all the time. We just got people out over land. Powerless to do so. Greg, what made you hate your country so much, besides the fact that we soundly rejected your surrogate father? Oh, yeah.
Speaking of...
we got another 100 out today. Oh, that's good news. U.S. evacuates more from Afghanistan. 100. Let's see this. 2 days ago. Let's see. News today. Tabel says international flights to Kabul airport will resume. Americans refuse to leave Afghanistan without their families, so that's what's taking so long with some more of this. 4 Americans evacuated. Here's 21 powerless. Remember what with America, greatest country in the world, and Greg Kelly, a Trumpian flag humper. I mean, he doesn't salute it or respect it. He rubs his penis on it like his surrogate father, Donald Trump, does. And White House says 21 more Americans evacuated from Afghanistan. This is from The Hill. Obviously, the White House said that 21 American citizens were evacuated from Afghanistan on Friday via chartered flight and overland route, bringing the total Americans evacuated over the past 2 days to 31. There were 10 yesterday. Today, the United States government facilitated the additional departures of U.S. citizens and lawful permanent residents, both on charter Qatar Airways flight from Kabul and via overland passage to a neighboring country. Qatar Airways flight held 19 U.S. citizens, and the party traveling overland included 2 U.S. citizens and 11 lawful permanent residents. 10 American citizens and 11 permanent residents were evacuated on Qatar Airlines charter earlier that day. And then ongoing the story again. Right. Okay. So, powerless to do so. This is a picture of airplanes on the ground. Here's one on the runway. Airplanes are taking off again. Is it sitting there? Is that our complaint?
Unvaccinated.
Joe's hoping this will distract from Afghan mess. No, he isn't. I could say specifically he isn't, because I don't think his rules about COVID and trying to fix that aspect with stuff that you guys think is tyranny would distract from an Afghan mess. I think he wants to deal with problems at home now that we're over that and we're dealing with the remnant aspect of that.
People, Joe, all these folks coming in, totally unvetted, many of them.
Oh my God, look at them. There's definitely some women in there. They've got their faces covered, so they're probably dudes with guns. Children. Look at that little guy right there. Right over there next to the guy in the look at that baby right there. Look at those sweet put him. Clearly a terrorist. I mean, the kid, it could be a whoopee. Could be a dirty bomb. We don't know. Maybe he's got a dirty diaper. Maybe it's a dirty bomb. I mean, at this point, no one knows, Greg. No one knows.
A problem. Maybe you should.
Is it a problem? You mean the part where we're vetting them in Qatar and in Germany and other places? Unless they're wounded, of course, where they're receiving medical care in the United States, or they're already cleared, so they came here.
Focusing on that. I know you should start focusing on that. But look, like so many liberals, he's hung up on power. He's hung up on virtue signaling. And boy, oh boy.
Yes, the power of virtue signaling. Especially the virtue signaling that comes with saying we don't have unlimited power and we will not act as if we do. You know, that virtue signal, which really cuts against the whole absolute power thing.
COVID, as they said during the campaign, it was the greatest thing that ever happened to Joe Biden. The greatest gift ever.
Who said that? Sorry, was it the Taliban? I don't know what their stuff was.
It was the greatest thing that...
Hold on, I got to back up a little further.
So many liberals, he's hung up on power. He's hung up on virtue signaling.
Yeah, pretending to give a shit about, like, women and girls. I mean, it's gross. Saving their lives just so he can say he saved their lives. What?
And boy, oh boy, COVID, as they said during the campaign, it was the greatest thing that ever happened to Joe Biden. The greatest gift ever was COVID, according to a senior communications advisor of his during the campaign, a woman named Anita Dunn. All right, but the good news is, as we look at this, it's against the Constitution. Joe Biden.
No, it's not. No, it isn't. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, providing for the general welfare.
He cannot mandate this. He can't. He wants to. He wants to pretend.
Yes, he fucking can. You can't store nuclear waste in your fucking yard. It's my property. Right. They can mandate all kinds of shit, dummy.
They can't
Wait.
force us. They can. Again, I elected to. You know something? In a strange way.
What? And I don't know what the fuck you're rubbing your hands together about. The commercial. There are legitimate concerns about side effects. The commercial. So Greg Kelly, who is vaccinated, along with everyone else at Newsmax, is going to run an ad about there are legitimate questions about side effects, concerns about side effects. Agreed. But they are not so overwhelming as to stop you from getting vaccinated. There are always concerns about things like that. There were of the polio vaccine. There were of a lot of different vaccines over time. Medications, for example. Propecia has, obviously ivermectin makes 85% of the men who take it sterile or lowers their sperm count, which, is reason enough why we should support everyone on the right taking it. I'm kidding. It's a joke. I'm fooling around. Stop it. All right.
Kamala.
Wait, it makes you sterile. Shit. All right. This is going to be my bean spitting from now on. I need to make that a button. All right.
Harris and I might have something in common on this. This is what she said during the campaign.
If the doctors tell us that we should take it, I'll be the first in line to take it. Absolutely. But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
Right. Meaning that if he alone says it, if the doctors are like, no, it's not ready, and he's like, it's ready, take it, then no, of course not. But if the doctors say, yeah, it's good, and Trump says take it, that's exactly what she means. Everybody knows that's what she means. Only an idiot thinks she means otherwise, or someone like Greg Kelly who's trying to manipulate the circumstance to help them.
So here's the deal. Kamala Harris doesn't have to take it for any reason she wants, whether she's concerned about something a doctor said or she didn't like Donald Trump, whatever. She was a federal employee.
This is, by the way, before it had gotten FDA approved. Even for emergency use. This is in October of 2020. None of them had gotten emergency use yet. None of them had gotten FDA approval. They have now, hence the ability to mandate it.
Back then, I guess she would,
even though it's not a mandate,
refuse the vaccine, huh? You can refuse this vaccine for whatever reason you want. And you can.
Yeah, you can, but you can't refuse it, not tell anyone that you refused it, and show up for work while hanging out with other anti-vaxxers and spread the disease everywhere and kill people who maybe have an autoimmune disorder and don't know to stay away from you.
Take it for the reasons that we all know. That is Kamala Harris's choice, huh? Remember, my body, my choice.
Again, why does he think this is a zinger? Because is that what happens when your audience is that lazy and you're that lazy that you just kind of like, all I got to do is tee this up. I don't even have to prove it. I can say these words in a certain order, and you just kind of go, out, 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 out.
My body, my choice. My body, my choice.
Yes, because the state is trying to stop them from being able to deal with their body intrinsically, and pregnancy is not contagious. Although I have been known to spread it at times. Sorry.
Rallying cry for the.
I have a kid, so it's kind of a
laugh when they're talking about abortion. But you know what? Maybe that should be the rallying cry of.
Really, you're that late to this game? They've been yammering this bullshit for a couple weeks, and again, this is about a service that you have every right to as a woman, and versus something that isn't even being forced upon you, that no one is stopping you from getting.
Folks who are reluctant to take this vaccine.
Oh, they're just reluctant. They're reluctant because they think it's the fucking mark of the beast and it's going to track you. And they tell you, like, the government's going to track me with something in my blood that will know where I'm going at all times. Puts phone in pocket, never leaves without it, takes phone out. Also, the mark of the beast, you will not be able to buy or sell anything unless you have the mark of the beast. I'll pay for that with Samsung Pay. And then, like, fucking hell.
This is a great question for the administration, by the way. What about my body, my choice?
Well, I tell you what. Once Texas tries to pass a law against people who want to get a vaccine to save their lives, and they pass a law that you can't, then we'll talk. And by the way, there's no version of abortion where you just get, where pregnancy testing is part of that. They're not outlawing pregnancy tests. See, this would be the direct parallel. Vaccine or get tested once a week. There is no point in this where the anti-abortion laws are also with them keeping women from getting tested for pregnancy, getting RU46, other aspects, but are limiting it to a time when women may not be able to afford those things or outside that realm. So that's why there's no direct parallel. There's no option where you're like, if I just get tested, I won't be pregnant. If I pee on this stick, suddenly I'm not pregnant anymore. Doesn't work that way.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
What happened to my body, my choice when it comes to vaccinations in the Biden administration? And in 2020, President-elect.
Again, if you're going to make the case that this will lead to forced vaccinations, make it.
Biden said he would not demand vaccine mandates.
He's not. You can also just get tested every week. Shut the fuck up. Christ.
Just ran away.
No, because it's a ridiculous question. I just answered it. It's not even hard. Like, read the fucking paper. Listen to what the speech said. Understand the law. Every single article hid that fact, like downplayed the fact that or get tested once a week. Well, get tested once a week, motherfucker. And if you're sick, stay home.
Sure, that was Emerald Robinson, our White House correspondent.
Yes, and she's just as dumb as you are.
And Joe Biden, as a candidate, said he would not mandate the vaccine.
He didn't. He has not. He has not. He has kept that promise.
No, I don't think it should be mandatory. I wouldn't demand to be mandatory.
Yes.
Not long.
Right. He has not demanded it be mandatory. You can also opt out for religious or health reasons, and you have to get tested. That's it. Just get tested. I mean, look how dumb this fucker is. Look how stupid Greg Kelly is. Watch this. Watch what he says and know what you know about the actual order, the executive order that came out.
No, I don't think it should be mandatory. I wouldn't demand to be mandatory.
Not long ago, December of 20. Won't be mandatory. What happened?
Well, it's not mandatory. Not outside the executive branch of the federal government, which he has extraordinary control over because he's the head of the government. But the average citizen, there's no mandate. There's no vaccine mandate. There's a testing mandate, but only if you work at a company that has more than 100 employees or you're a contractor for the government.
Afghanistan happened. He lost a war and he wants.
We didn't lose a fucking war. How do you lose a war that we've been in for 20 years and 7 months, dickhead? Where was the win? Where was the win? We didn't lose in Afghanistan. The Romans didn't lose in Afghanistan. The Russians didn't even fucking lose in Afghanistan. We routed them, the Russians, and made them spend a lot of money there. But ultimately, they left because there's nothing to gain. How do you, we've been in a war for 20 years. Where was the win? Where was it? Has anybody said, just 3 more months, 5 more months, 10 more months?
Us to forget about it. Not happening. And oh, by the way, regarding Afghanistan, the Chinese seem to be moving in very, very fast.
You just watched news.
Should we do a story at some point? Can I do a special? Because having traveled in China a bunch, excuse me, ma'am, you're gonna have to leave my screen. Having traveled in China a bunch and speaking Chinese, having a lot of friends over there still, who I don't talk to that often because of their safety and concerns for them getting in trouble. Are we going to even pretend that the Belt Road Initiative that's going to, will be a part of Afghanistan and that the Chinese will be successful in fucking Afghanistan instead of creating a direct link between the Uyghurs, who they're putting down, and the Taliban and ISIS? You think ISIS is going to allow China to operate uninterrupted in Afghanistan, considering what they're doing to the Uyghurs? What we've done as far as black sites and stuff, where we rounded people up, and in the people that we rounded up were real terrorists and innocent civilians, and they got mixed up, or even in strafe bombings. And those guys, you're talking about dealing with people who put on suicide vests and go into markets. So collateral damage is something they really don't give a fuck about. That you think that ISIS is going to have more of a grudge against us after we've left Afghanistan than they're going to have towards the Chinese who are trying to move in while they're doing what they're doing, putting Uyghurs in concentration camps? Are you kidding me? Does anyone think that's actually going to work out? In the short term, China will make certain inroads tribally and try to, bribe people with money, try to get them in debt to China. Nobody's going to fucking pay it. And it's going to result in violence. And whatever roads or pipelines or trade routes they build through Afghanistan are going to get blown up all the fucking time. And either to drive them out, seize what they brought in, and like get rid of them now that they come in here, build us a bunch of shit, and then we'll just blow up your entry point so we all keep it. Or just to get back at what you've done at the Uyghurs. Yeah, come on in, build a road. Kaboom. Like, for fuck's sake. Does anybody think this shit through? Anybody?
XTV, America's...
Oh, shut up. Hold on. I'm going back there. All right, let's go back to... Trump was on Gutfeld. Let's take a moment. We need a moment. I've been very aggravated. Obviously, I even think Greg Gutfeld probably has had a couple of these experiences over time. Gutfeld interviewed Trump and asked him the question that's on no one's mind. Not really. Basically, it says Trump reveals when he will make a decision about 2024. I'll tell you when he'll do it. You want a prediction? He'll do it when he can no longer afford to wait to, in making money, like right up to the last fucking second, because he has to shit or get off the pot, or he has to stop taking money from his super PAC. And at that moment, he will decide not to run because he will have to stop taking money from his super PAC and he's not making money anywhere else. The dude is calling a boxing match with his son tomorrow night on 9/11. Does that sound like something a billionaire does? Honest to God, on 9/11, like you couldn't go, yeah, we'll do it, but we'll only do it. We'll do the next one. We'll do it in a couple months, or a bigger fight or something. He's making a lot of money to do it because he needs the money. No billionaire needs money that much. Are you out of your fucking mind? But Gutfeld bring him on and go, hey, when you're toying around, tell us the truth. When are you going to join it?
On Gutfeld. The most important question I have to ask you is, how about my ratings?
Your ratings are fabulous. I just said you're now the king of late night.
That is funny.
I mean, you're beating some very untalented people, to be honest with you. So I'm not so sure how great that is, but they are so bad. And it's about time somebody came in and you're really beating them badly. Great.
I feel kind of guilty about it because I feel like I'm beating up unarmed people.
Well, they're not very talented. You are. So congratulations.
Jesus. Please tell me they don't start blowing each other, because I'll have to cut away. I'm going to violate YouTube's terms of service.
Incredibly talented. They're just untalented.
Yeah, well, and you're very different.
Yes, I am very different. That is true. Well,
did you say how you were different? Oh, the shoes. Is he wearing sand? Oh, okay, those are...
Or whatever. Clap away. Well, if that's not Emmy award-winning stuff, I don't know what is. But
all right. Well, I agree. I don't think you do.
If I sent contagious people to nursing homes and then grabbed my coworkers' asses, I'd have a chance. But I won't. But the fun...
Did they chop that up even more? How much is this? Okay. Is that what's coming up? Okay, here we go. Greg's... All right, no,
oh, time for part 3 with our 45th president, Donald Trump. Take it away.
Why'd you have to... Part 1. Why'd you have to cut the shit out of this thing? I've noticed that a lot lately. I've seen more editing in Trump's interviews than ever before. Is he getting more demanding as a private citizen, or?
Ask you about Hunter Biden's new profession. Have you seen any of his paintings?
No, I haven't seen them. I've seen, I guess, some newspaper shots of them.
Could you imagine if that was your
Don
son?
Jr. Don Jr. has decided to go into painting. Well, he's never painted before. He wants $500,000 a shot. And you know what? They don't even go after him.
No. And he paints with a straw, which is a new use for a straw for him.
Yeah. When I heard that one, I said, oh, this one will never. This one, even the fake news media will not allow. He's selling these paintings for a fortune.
Yeah.
If my kids ever did that, they could do good things.
Yes.
I have a son raised.
Excuse me. They cannot do good things. Your children are completely incapable of doing any good in the world. We've seen this. I mean, Eric was stealing from St. Jude's, for fuck's sake. What good? Show me one thing. What Ivanka's female empowerment seminars?
$20 million for St. Jude's, and he was under 2 years.
I'm sorry, what?
Of investigation, and he got nothing out of it. Nothing. 2 years of investigation.
Yeah, nothing. He got nothing. A finder's fee, for holding, handling the finances or whatever that wasn't disclosed to the people who were donating and could have donated directly to St. Jude's, but they bounced it through the Eric Trump Foundation, and he just took his cut. You know what I mean? I run around all this shit up. We use my dad's properties, which you guys pay for, so we double dipping. Nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean?
He raised $20 million. I got the most beautiful letter from the head of St. Jude's that this young man, I won't even say which.
By the way, 100%. The reason why Donald Trump is the reason why Hunter Biden's paintings sell. 100%. The value, like, no one would know or give a fuck who Hunter Biden was on any level if Trump hadn't tried to use him as a wedge issue to stop Biden from getting elected. 100%. Every dime that he's making on his paintings is because Trump and Don Jr. are the best ad campaign he's ever had. If honest to God.
One of my kids goes, why should I?
It'd be great if Don Jr. or Eric started selling sketches and giving the money to like drug addiction programs. Just like some
Yeah, that's a little too close to home, Greg. Maybe you look like in the middle of this question, you realize you're sitting across from someone who snorts Adderall and benzos and green Sudafed from Europe because it's got the precursor chemicals in it for meth.
primitive sketches before Hunter ever sells a painting.
Well, and this was during,
Yeah, he's going to avoid that whole thing about drug rehab.
You go during the presidency to do this, okay?
Yeah.
But I think the paintings are the least of it.
Yeah.
You know that.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned paint, that's the least of it.
Well, there's gun violations.
Yeah.
And there's a load of other things, too.
You know what? We had a much softer Justice Department, and
yeah, I thought you were going to hire the best people, and I guess you did. It was a kinder, gentler Justice Department. Bill Barr, I mean, he was honestly, I think he would have been way harder. I think he would have loved to be way harder on Hunter Biden, but he was too busy throwing himself in front of the bus against the Mueller investigation. I mean, that's a lot of work, protecting you from the Mueller investigation and making sure you couldn't get indicted as a sitting president. That took up a lot of his daytime. I'm sure he would have loved to have gone after Hunter Biden if there had been evidence, of course.
let's say that they didn't like doing that. And I understand that, too. I don't want to see a family in trouble.
Yeah.
And he's got some difficulty.
Well, yeah, that's because you recognize that people, every time it comes up, people go, wait a minute, your kids are fucked up.
Which are very serious difficulties in terms of what happened to him with abuse, et cetera, et cetera. But I'll tell you what, you can't do it to Republicans. And I say to some of the Republicans, especially the rhinos, because we have some very stupid Republicans also.
Yeah, you know what? Suddenly I like this clip. Yeah, go after the rhinos. Tell them about it. Yeah, and Fox News, too. Say shame on Fox. Oh, that's Lindell. I always get you guys mixed up.
I say, don't you sometimes have to fight fire with fire?
What do you...
Most of the time, no. I recommend water or sand or dirt if it's an oil or grease fire. Sometimes when you fight fire with fire, you actually burn everything down. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you explode fire, fight fire. I mean, I would nuke a tornado, though, just because they're forceful.
What are your plans for 2024?
So I love our country. I think you'll be very happy. I would say this 2-3 years.
He has to keep them on the chain. Do it.
Though you might not have been that happy, but now I think you'd be very happy. I think especially when you see what's happening, you'll be happy. No, I'll make a decision in the not too distant future, but I love our country and I think a lot of people are going to be very happy. And if you look at the poll numbers, I certainly like that because it's, we got one the other day, 98% approval rating in the Republican Party.
Mm-hmm. No. Yeah. It's like from Rasmussen, and it was taken all at Mar-a-Lago, and it was necessary to gain entry.
Reagan had
900 in the chat. Wow. Thanks. Yeah, there is a bit of a, there's a bit of a, like a crinkly skin situation going on here.
7. We have a 98% approval rating. And that makes me feel good. It makes me feel appreciated. Not like a guy like you that could be critical in the past, only in the past.
All right, so I have to ask you,
why is that funny? I mean, it is because he's the boss. You got to laugh at the boss's jokes.
Twitter at all? Do you tweet in your head? Like because you're not on there anymore?
Well, a lot of people think Twitter was bad for me. I disagree. I think it was good for me. Twitter's become a very boring place.
Are they laughing with him or at him? This is all after the fact. The people who are laughing are not present. This is super fucking weird.
People think Twitter was bad for me. I disagree. I think it was good for me. Twitter's become a very boring place. As I understand,
he's serious. That he didn't mean that as a joke.
Be like bragging or anything, but people are saying it's become very boring.
No, you made that. You made the site.
When I went onto Twitter like 12 years ago, Twitter.
Good Lord. Look, try harder, Greg. Fucking hell.
Twitter's become a very boring place. As I understand, I don't want to be like bragging or anything, but people are saying it's become very boring.
No, you made that. You made the site.
When I went onto.
Again, I can't tell. There's a slim chance Greg Gutfeld is actually laughing at Trump for saying that. You made the site, buddy. Oh, yeah.
Twitter like 12 years ago. Twitter was a failed operation. And it became...
Again, they're laughing at him.
Successful, and a lot of people said I had a lot to do with it. When they took me off, I had way over 100 million people. Mm-hmm. And then if you add Facebook...
You don't add them. They're the same people overlapped. Let's see. It's tapered out into just real humans. Twitter kept gaining new users after it banned Trump. Just, throwing that out there.
Everything else, it's over 200 million people. That's a lot. You go from 200 million people to nothing overnight. What I do now is I have Save America, and I release things, and I'm getting tremendous play. And
yeah, it's great. Yeah, they're really tight. Especially the one about Robert E. Lee. Like, that was classy. They're removing the statue of Robert E. Lee because we don't have the losing team's pieces on our chessboard. Let's see, where is it? Let's see if this... This is from his written statement. There it is. Oh, it's not there. That's weird. No? So, it says, which one? Wait a minute. Why? Okay. Final. Okay. Why did that link not work anymore? This is true. Disaster Biden's economy. Endorsement of Harriet Hageman slams Biden for not following plan to left again. Is this one? No. See the full article. Oh, it's an article. In case you missed it, I see. Somebody else's thing they put in the statement by. Okay, this is just the. Congratulations, Greg Gutfeld. Then, he took it down. What a coward. Look at that. Robert E. Lee is considered by many generals to be the greatest strategist of them all. No, not by many generals. No. President Lincoln wanted to command the North, in which case the war would have been over in one day. Apparently not. Robert E. Lee instead chose the other side because of his great love for Virginia and slavery. Except for Gettysburg, would have won the war. Well, you kind of have to win them all, don't you? 916 people in the chat. Look at this winning show that everybody's gathering around for. It's amazing. I'm just so impressed. Thanks, guys. All right, here we go. All right, let's, shall we continue?
Suing Twitter, Facebook, Google. We're suing them all.
Yeah, it's not going to work, but good luck. Yeah, spend some money. That's good. At least you can raise money off the money you're spending, pretending that you're using the money to sue people.
Class action suit. Anybody wants to join? Please join. Phil.
Again, asshole, they're laughing at you right now. Please join. That's because he's asking for your money, and he's not going to spend it on lawyers. They're going to bill like office space in Trump Tower to this fucking thing by the time it's done. You watch. Hold on.
Well, we're suing them all. A class action suit. Anybody wants to join? Please join. Feel free. But we're suing them, and I think it's a great.
Again, those people aren't there.
Lawsuit. These people are sick. Mm-hmm. You know, Zuckerberg used to come. You know, the lock boxes, which I call the unlock boxes, because they unlock. Mm. So the unlock.
It's great. It's great. It's an amazing turn of phrase. Shit.
Boxes all over the place. But he used to come to the White House to kiss my ass, and I'd say, "Oh, that's nice. I have the head of Facebook coming with his lovely wife, and they'd come and they'd have dinner with me in the White House." And then you see what they do about me and about Republicans, and it's just sort of crazy. But that's the way the world works.
When you are watching,
Jesus Christ, you can just feel the seeping boredom. Like you could tell that they watched the interview itself, and it was so kind of drudgy and pathetic that they got, let's play it for our live audience and let them laugh over it. Please, God.
The media treats Joe Biden. This is such an obvious question, but it's worth bringing up.
Well, you have no non-obvious questions. You're a kiss ass, Greg. You got limited rounds in the chamber, buddy.
Game that we play on the 5. It's like, imagine if it's Trump. If you look at the certain things that, like Joe Biden leaving behind.
Oh, you mean the if it were Obama thing that you ripped off?
Afghan translators. Yeah. If it were you would be called a racist.
Sorry, if you what? Afghan translators?
Afghan trans.
Hold on.
It's Trump. If you look at the certain things that, like Joe Biden leaving behind Afghan translators. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Joe Biden leaving behind Afghan translators. Let's see. As the United States potentially abandons tens of thousands of Afghans who helped 2 decades of military and diplomatic efforts there to the mercies of the Taliban, a single person may deserve more credit than any other. The Trump White House aide immigrant foe Stephen Miller, who worked for all 4 years as former President Donald Trump's immigration advisor pushing restrictive policies across the board, was instrumental in slowing down the processing of special immigrant visas for Afghan interpreters. Embassy staff and others who are now top targets for Taliban assassination, according to both the refugee advocates and those who have worked with him. The seeds of the insanity that we're seeing right now were planted in Stephen Miller's brain, said Matt Zeller, a former Army officer who served in Afghanistan and co-founded the group No One Left Behind, adding that Miller is as much to blame for the deaths of interpreters and others as the Taliban themselves. He's complicit in their murders. He's brilliant at how evil he is. Olivia Troy talked about it as well. Yeah, it's just generally gross. So if it had been Obama who had hamstrung the special immigrant visa program, he never would have been elected as a Democrat.
If it were you would be called a racist.
If
Because they are,
and they'd be impeaching me.
Yeah, would be impeaching you
for many, many different.
And now,
well, yeah, but technically speaking, you did do it because you are racist towards them, and Stephen Miller is your like little racist, F-boy, and they already did impeach you, and you lost the election, so you're no longer in office, so we don't have to impeach you.
this phone call, right? This phone call that he made to the Afghan president, asking him to lie.
Yeah.
Right. So that is not a perfect phone call.
No, that is not. My call was a perfect call.
Jesus. Yeah, it is. That is laughable. If it was a perfect call, then how'd you fuck it up so bad? How do you get impeached with a perfect call? I mean, I guess it was less than perfect.
How does the psychology of this work?
Wait a minute. That was the laugh line when he says my call was a perfect call?
My call was a perfect call.
So how does the psychology of this work? How do they square that in their head, knowing what they did before? And I'm talking about the media.
You know, my call, when I heard there was we sent it to the Justice Department.
Yeah.
These guys, I didn't know who they were. They were a certain division. And they called.
I didn't know what the law was. This is, yeah.
Back
it's the Reagan defense. I don't recall. I don't know.
Said,
I didn't think I did anything wrong. In my heart, I still believe that.
We've read this transcript 3 or 4 times. What exactly are you looking for? You know, these are guys that are looking at drug deals and all sorts of bad stuff. They're going, what is it you are looking for? That they couldn't figure it out. It was a perfect call. When you watch this call, this was not a good call.
No.
This was not a good call.
Well, nobody watched it. It's a transcript.
He was asking him to lie in order to make it look better. Maybe to make himself look better or politically, whatever.
Or save the lives of our people who are evacuating, because if the Taliban felt any more emboldened, it could endanger the lives of the people that we were extracting from the country. But fuck America, right, Greg? Fuck our soldiers. Let the Taliban know they can brush past anybody. And if some of our soldiers are mixed in with the Afghans, I mean, if the president of Afghanistan is going, fuck you, bye, and the president of the United States is going, these guys, what a bunch of losers. It's going to fall in days. I don't know why the Taliban doesn't just hurry things up while we're trying to get people out of the goddamn country. That's why. Everybody knows this. Even Greg Gutfeld, this is boring.
But I've been calling Ghani a crook for a long time.
And he left with how many?
Yeah, and he was still president when you were in there, and you still gave him. How did he get $168 million? He was just sitting on that, ready to go.
How much money?
He walked away with $200 million.
Yeah.
In fact, he couldn't get it all into the helicopter. They left a lot of it on the runway. Do you think some people at the airport were happy?
Me. It just kills me.
And you don't even hear that story. You don't even hear that story.
No, you don't.
And you don't hear
Yes, you do. Everybody heard about it.
much about Afghanistan anymore. You know, I watched the evening news.
Yeah, because it's over. You know why we kept hearing about it? Is because you said you were going to get us out, and you never did. You didn't. You coulda, you didn't. You coulda, but you didn't. You shoulda, but you didn't.
They talk about everything they can, but they don't like to talk about Afghanistan.
Yeah, that's because we're out. We have some cleanup there, and we're trying to get other people out that didn't make the deadline, or that were staying with their family, or we're back and forth about whether or not they were going or staying. We couldn't make up. Like, the fucking plane is leaving. We're done. 31st is the date. I don't believe you. Oh, go on. Trump said he was leaving for 4 years, and he never did. Why should I believe you, Joe Biden, just because you ran on it and actually followed through?
All right. That was powerful.
It was. It was embarrassing. You're also the same color as him. I don't know why. He was on earlier. This is an earlier segment, I think.
Is it end?
Thank you very much, Greg.
Thank you for having me. The most important question I have to ask you is...
By the way, the only reason he's on the show is because he thinks Greg Gutfeld's going to hold on to the late night slot. By the way, everybody's on vacation when Greg won.
How about my ratings?
Your ratings are fabulous. I just saw you're now the king of late night.
Yes.
I mean,
wait, this is the same shit? Hold on. I thought this was two different versions of it. Hold on.
It wouldn't have happened.
Do you think it is better to be feared, right? And that's the difference.
Wait, okay, maybe I didn't miss that. Hold on. That's the other clip. Let's see. Okay, here we go.
But I'm not sure if Jimmy was being sincere because he wasn't crying.
Hold on. Yeah. Crying is a sign of weakness. We all know this. Okay,
Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Greg.
Thank you for having me. The most important question I have to ask you is, how about my ratings?
Your ratings are fabulous. I just saw you're now the king of late night.
Yes.
I mean, you're beating some very untalented people, to be honest with you.
Who are on vacation.
I'm not so sure how great that is, but they are so bad, and it's about time somebody.
And they were on vacation almost the entirety of that. Also, Rupert Murdoch owns the Nielsen ratings system. He moved it overseas.
Came in and you're really beating them badly. Great.
I feel kind of guilty about it because I feel like I'm beating up unarmed people.
Well, they're not very talented. You are. So congratulations.
I'm mildly talented. They're just untalented.
Well, and you're very different.
Yes, I am very different. Speaking of, do you remember how much I hated you for that brief period of time?
There was a period of time when you weren't a fan, and then you started noticing that things were getting done. And you said, you know, I may not like them, but look, we have a good economy, we have good military, we have good everything.
Right.
And then
And Mexican women and children are disappearing at an alarming clip. 8,800 Mexican and South American immigrant children, minors were just vanished. They were just dropped off in Juarez, and nobody even looking for them that we had, and just no guidance at all. And then, of course, about 800, were lost into the system, never tracked, separated from their parents, never to be rejoined. We even have a task force that Biden put together, still trying to link up a majority of these kids with their parents. We've done about, 300 now?
And now I think, I don't know if it's love, but it's getting close, and we like it.
I wouldn't say it's love, but I would say it's admiration.
Thank you.
And also admitting that I was wrong because I was focusing on words and not deeds. And now we're at a time where, okay, there are no more mean tweets, and we have a really nice president, and the country is in the crapper. So who would you rather have?
Well, I don't know that he's a nice
Oh, wait.
president.
I don't know that he's a nice president. Well, yeah, you didn't show up at the inauguration. You kind of just left town. You didn't do the normal pleasantries of a peaceful exchange of power. You just,
Sure about that, but I can tell you the country has never been more unsafe. We have people
The country has never been more unsafe. As someone who was in LA during the riots in the 90s, I would disagree.
in through our southern border, which everyone's forgetting about right now because of
Yeah, it's I don't know why we're just forgetting that there's millions of people pouring across. Why can't we won't even see them? Like, they won't even let footage, like they won't even let right-wingers buy cameras and camera phones so they could go down there and film the stampede of millions across their private property in Arizona and Texas. I mean, they're there. It's happening every night. Hundreds of thousands of people just storming every month, millions crossing the border, sometimes going back just to cross again as a fuck you to the country. And Republicans are not even allowed to film this, and we're all denied the right. If the internet has been shut down, no one online can even show footage. Fox News can't even show footage of the millions of people crossing because it doesn't exist. But if they were allowed to go down there and shoot it and then air that, it's not happening.
travesty of Afghanistan. And if you look at the people coming in,
He means leaving, by the way.
the hundreds by the thousands, and these are not the people necessarily that wanted the protection.
Right.
These are people. So are they terrorists? How many terrorists are coming in? And they were aggressive, very aggressive at the plane, and they pushed their way onto the plane.
What?
No, those people in that flight that ended up in the base of that plane are not the same as the people who fell off the other plane, and they didn't go to the United States or for vetting at all. They were dropped off in Uzbekistan.
Democrats have such a problem with
Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe News Hacks or OA OAN can post that footage. OAN and Newsmax, if you guys have the footage of the millions of people streaming across our southern border every month, because that's the quote, every month, millions of people are coming across our southern border. And I don't mean the millions that come and go legally. I mean millions of just ratty, dangerous, people in sombreros speaking Pashto and carrying AK-47s that say, want to join MS-13, ask me how, stickers on them, and just storming across, millions of them. And of course, being resettled immediately in Iowa to get ready for 2024.
Incentivization, like if you introduce friction on the border,
you almost gave him a nosebleed with trying to pronounce incentivization.
Immigration.
Yeah.
They don't understand that. What is the problem with that? How can they cannot see that?
I really believe it's gross incompetence. And the only thing good for them about Afghanistan.
But that ended up being a laugh track. He means it. He's speaking earnestly. I don't know why they're laughing at him, other than the fact that, like, ooh, boo, he said gross incompetence. Oh, shit.
Understand is it makes what they're doing on the border look good, because that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
We don't want a wall. We don't want this. We'll just let people come through. It's a disaster.
Yeah, no one said that. And we don't need a wall was what everyone was saying. It's ridiculous. And it didn't work anyways, because apparently you spent all that money on a wall. We didn't have millions of people crossing the border before the wall was built. The fuck did this wall do? How does a wall become a force accelerator for immigration?
The borders it was the safest border we've ever had, and now it's
Thanks, COVID.
What unites all of them is a lack of process. They do not understand process. We just want order. I want people to come into our country, but I want a line and a gate, people that can walk through.
Yeah, and legally. Legally vetted, strongly vetted.
Yeah.
But when you think that
There is. But that doesn't mean you don't catch people who sneak through and process them. Most of them are expelled immediately.
move the military out first, think of this, because we had a great plan. You know, even Biden, I think he made a mistake when they did it. They were all screaming at him. But when he said that since President Trump, or he calls it the past administration, signed the deal.
Prior administration. That's how other presidents talk nicely about the former administrations or the prior administration without name checking people and being a dick in the name of political comedy.
Not one soldier was shot at or killed. Think of that. You know why? Because they knew the consequences. And our conditions were tough. And then they came in and they just moved out. Who would move out the military first?
Well, they didn't move them out first. They took them back from the bases we're no longer going to use. They were still the last person to leave was a soldier in uniform.
Military goes last and safely. And say,
how do you do such a thing? And how long after? Forever is what he means. What he means is you get the civilians out, embassy, all that shit, every personnel, contractors, all that stuff, and then you leave our military there with no runways, no working bases. You bombed all the forts, right? And then they're just there, thumbing a ride to Pakistan.
Those 13 great soldiers and 200 people, 200 people, more than 200 people were.
Because the soldiers aren't people. I get it.
Killed, and a lot of people are badly injured, really badly injured. It wouldn't have happened.
Do you think?
Well, that's true. That is absolutely true. It would not have happened because he would have never gotten us out of Afghanistan. He didn't plan on it. He wasn't going to. His deadline was bullshit. It was going to start a quote-unquote 2-year drawdown, which would have remained forever. And then, even with everyone out, every embassy staff, all that stuff, still going to keep a base there, the largest base we have.
It's better to be feared, right? And that's the difference. They don't fear.
They what?
President.
Well,
what? Yeah, they do, or they wouldn't be letting our people out. Even now, they're allowing people out. You think they're doing it out of kindness or respect? Largely, it's out of fear. They also have some hopefulness that the international community will view them as a real legitimate government and start giving them financial aid and that kind of stuff and help them with COVID, which is ravaging the country as well. So they're playing nice for that front. But they know full well the military isn't like, well, I could probably beat up Biden in a fist fight, so I don't know that I have to worry about this. We have a ginormous military. We will fuck you up.
No, if he just doesn't seem like they know what they're doing.
Right. Yeah.
It's not a question. I don't even think it's a question.
Well, yeah, they do. What they were doing was getting out of Afghanistan after 20 years. Or actually, technically, before 20 years. Because 9/11 anniversary coming up.
Fear. It's a question of respect, and it's a question of being smart. When you
right, which is why it never happened while you were president. It couldn't happen. Trump. Does anybody want to go back and look at 2017 to Trump's speech about leaving Afghanistan, like how we have to stay? Oh, thank you for becoming a patron. And thanks, Bean Toes, too. Frost Nixon, this is not absolutely. Thank you, Gina, as well. Is that a pound? Those are pounds. You're in England. No, excellent. Gloria, thank you so much, too. And Hibby's back. Thanks for subscribing. Tier 3, look at you. What up? Brian and Luis, thank you so much. And Diana.
Here, I could just see, because I dealt with Abdul.
Right.
Let's
We're going to hear the grunt story.
Abdul, but that's the man.
Yes.
And he's now the...
What? This is a grown man speaking about international relations with a terrorist head.
With Abdul.
Right.
Let's call him Abdul, but that's the man.
Yes.
And he's now the head of the Taliban, and he was the head of the Taliban when I dealt with him. And I started...
He means Baradar. And no, he wasn't. He was in jail in Pakistan, you fuck.
Very tough because, you know, you're going to pay tremendous consequences. I don't have to go the level of toughness, but it was bad. And they understood what I said. And there was no way they were going to do anything to us. We could have taken our time. We could have taken a year, 2 years.
Yeah, we didn't have to rush. I mean, the May date was bullshit anyways. We could have taken forever. I mean, we did set a distinct date, but we could have kept this going forever. I told them, watch out. You shoot any of our people, we'll stay forever.
To leave $85 billion worth of equipment.
We didn't leave $85 billion worth of equipment. Everybody keeps re-quoting this. God damn, this is lazy.
For them to fly around Apache helicopters. So this is...
Notice how they went down from Black Hawks to Apache helicopters? Uh-huh.
Greatest war machine outside of the submarine. This is the greatest war machine there is, the Apache.
What?
Greatest war machine outside of the submarine. This is the greatest war machine.
The fuck are you talking about? The Apache helicopters are the greatest war machines outside of submarines? What? Fucking hell.
There is, the Apache.
Right.
They're very, very...
Right. Tell him, Greg. Right. So right.
You know, tens of millions of dollars.
Jesus Christ. Hold on. I just need it. I'll show you real quick. Here's this is the Apache attack helicopter. And by the way, let me show you it real quick. Here's the Apache, right? This is what it looks like. It's just got a lot of shit hanging on it. It's great, a helicopter, but it's still a helicopter for fuck's sake. It's you can hit it with a heat seeker. It's I mean, it's a hover and kill machine, but let's see. Here's the Black Hawk. And the reason they're saying the Apache, by the way, you want to see why they were saying Black Hawk before. I'd like to show you why they're saying Apache now, because the picture you saw of the guy dangling who was trying to hang a flag, you know, from a helicopter was hanging from a Black Hawk. And a lot of them were military medical transports. Those were the only ones left unfucked with. So there were like 3 of them in Kabul or whatever that were medevac ones in case they needed them at the last moment that they didn't destroy. All the military ones had been destroyed. Here's an armed one. But the ones that were flying that you saw were these guys. And they're old and they're sand painted and they were given to the Afghan military. Let's see. Let me see real quick. Apache. Hold on. There. Afghanistan. Kabul. Let's see if they have a picture. There you go. Hold on. See if they have a picture of it. Nope. Okay, that's the only ones they have. Okay, so here's what we know about the Afghan helicopters. Taliban captures Afghan helicopters. Whoops, I just slide this down. Afghan helicopters as the last U.S. personnel evacuated. So they captured Afghan helicopters, right? Okay, so let's see what they got. U.S. helicopter flying over the U.S. Embassy in Kabul seems to be the evacuation is underway. This is us actually flying. U.S. are currently evacuating people to Kabul airport in these guys, right? Okay. You didn't see any of those flying after the fact. They went with us. Here's the guy running. An Afghan Air Force MD F-30F Cayuse Warrior helicopter maneuvers for another gun run during a media demonstration in April 2015 at training range. So these were the ones that were mostly left behind. And then here's video reportedly shows Taliban captured Kunduz airport with Afghanistan Air Force Mi-35 Hind attack helicopter. So let's, retry. Let's see if we can see the footage of this one, which is the, here we go. That's an Afghan one. That's the dangerous part. And that is somebody went in and threw a thermite grenade in the front of that thing. So it's not going to fly. I mean, I'm supposed, and the missiles are gone. So I suppose they could, and the guns are gone. Look at that. See this right here? That's a gun. Let's see if I can find the M135 or Mi-35. Hold on. Let's see if I can find this because it's kind of cool. It's kind of nice to look at this. So Mi-35 attack helicopter. So you can see the before and the after. Where are we? There we go. Let's get this guy. See if with the gunners on the side. There we go. So here you go. So yeah, here you go. This is a Hind. Here's another one. So right here, that's the gun mount, and then there's a missile mount right there, or vice versa. I suppose you could put whatever you want. They probably are pretty versatile in terms of what you can mount on the sides of these things. There you go. See all that? There's stuff you hang on the outside, like missile launchers, and then these are smaller, projectile launchers. They're heavy-duty aircraft. But if you'll notice, in this guy right here, it's got the housing, but it hasn't got any of that shit on it. It's all missing. That's gone. That's just a casing. This is gone. There's no mounting here. They removed everything. When they left, they demilitarized. Showing A-10 fully loaded. Okay. While we're getting all military nerdy. A-10. Yeah, there you go. A-10 Warthog. Here you go. So this is what they look like. The A-10 looks like when it's fully loaded. It's got all these huge bombs and then these side missiles. And you can mount guns on them too, I suppose. And this is front-mounted gun. It's like a, is it an M50? 50 cal? Gatling gun that they can have on the front of it, kind of like Blue Thunder. It's the Apache Warthog. There you go. So in all of these, and even the rest of these, even the helicopters you see, like these littler ones, they all can mount this kind of stuff on the side of them, right? And they all do. Unless it's a military or strictly transport, like diplomatic transport, and even then they've got, countermeasures and all kinds of shit that they have on them. That's all this. All this stuff is on. Like here's a standard guy right there. He's still got this shit on the side of it, right? In the article, they show the demo. Here's the demo version. That's what they have on the side of them. They're all mounted up for this shit. These are guns. All that stuff is gone. All of it. But of course, Greg Kelly wants you to think that our soldiers served dishonorably and left as much military stuff behind as possible so as to help the Taliban. And Trump and Greg Gutfeld also want you to think this. They want you to think that our soldiers were giddy at the prospect of leaving as much munitions behind for the Taliban to use on its own citizens. That is by an A-10. I did do an A-10. Which one? This guy. This is an AH-61. And that's the... Oh, it's a 64. Beg your pardon. There you go. Because they're all AHs. Hold on one second. Where are you? There we go. Oh, there it is. A-10 Thunderbolt. Sorry. Is that the one you were talking about? The A-10 Thunderbolt 2. There you go. Here you go. This is what you wanted to see. Now I know why. Here you go. Oh my God. The Taliban now has 16 of these. No, they don't. That is crazy. That looks like something out of a Tom Cruise movie. Look at this shit. By the way, they do not have any of these. The Taliban or the Afghans didn't have any of these. These were ours. I don't know that he even used them in, you know, here you go. Instead of being retired, A-10 Warthog is getting even more deadly. Is getting even deadlier. Yeah, that's the close air support. Sorry, nerd in the chat room. Yeah.
They have 28 of them.
Yes.
That's more than any other country in the world has, except for.
I can't even.
Yeah, but they've all had thermite grenades thrown into them, fuckhead. Stop shitting on our soldiers.
A gun in New York.
Yeah.
If I joined the Taliban, I could have gotten a helicopter.
No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you would also live in a war zone where people are going to get their throats slit on the regular. So that's the trade-off for civil society. See, that's one of the reasons why not having a lot of guns is kind of a sign of a good society. So the fewer guns you need actually shows a more balance internal in your society. Because in Afghanistan, there's a shit ton of guns all over the place. Everybody's got them all the time. And you need a lot of them because the country is pretty much garbage right now. The goal would be to not need them ever.
In fact, I saw that the other day. We can't have guns, but the Taliban, they can have 27 each.
I could have a helicopter.
Yeah, in Afghanistan, fucko.
Get me to the Hamptons and back.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right.
Not right. Just like childish and silly. And I mean, it's a vain attempt to try and rehab him. You know, let's see. Is there more of it? Oh, it's just more of his show. Basically, they post the whole show. Okay, never mind. Yep, that's it. Okay, so we'll have plenty, by the way, to talk about tomorrow on the radio show. Just in case you're curious about tomorrow's show. Just saying. On 9/11, I will be on the radio, WCPT 820 AM, and also live streaming on all my channels. We'll have a bunch of stuff to talk about on 9/11, both in historical context and in reality. But on top of that, I will end tonight on the biggest dumb I can find. Now, there's two versions of this stupid, of what's going on here. This is Biden administration's incompetence just never ends. From someone who's he just always forgets not to wear green. How are you? Okay. And then, of course, this business right here. I want to hear his ad. This has to be an ad, right? Guys, does he just speak into his phone for text? Is this all speech to text? Guys, my father and I are commenting on the Holyfield Bullfight fighting match. It's the fight of a lifetime. Everybody's been waiting for this one. And the fact that it's fucking September 11th, there's got to be some sort of like Q shit behind it. And no holds barred. It's a boxing match, isn't it? Or is it a straight up? Yeah, it's boxing. So holds are barred. Just for the record. That's right? It's just a stand. It's not MMA. It's technically, right? Am I? Yeah, guys, I love snorting coke off my father's ballsack. Guys, look how glassy his eyes are. Shit. There's gonna be an ad right before this, right?
This is for all you multi-everything people out there.
Rock, don't sell me an energy drink to promote Don Jr.'s channel.
Only take your moment, be a fire burning through. Hustling from night until morning, grinding it out, it won't be long.
Don't eat a sandwich like that over a laptop. You're freaking me out.
Enjoy your Zilla.
Oh, jeez, hold on. Jesus
cool.
Christ. Think about how much money he just made for, like, what was that, 6 words?
Actually got to participate in my...
Yikes.
Okay, guys, today was pretty cool. I actually got to participate in my first ever fight press conference.
Guys, holy hell, man. Do you keep the Coke in balloons in your nose before? Like, the cool thing is, guys, I used to put it up my ass to smuggle it, guys. But now, guys, I put the balloons full of Coke in my nose. That way, if they break, I just snort and I take care of it. It's great. Before, I had to go to the emergency room. There was a whole thing with a light bulb. But guys,
if you've seen, but my father and I are going to be commentating on the Evander Holy.
Commentating. You do the director's cut commentary after the fight.
Failed Vitor Belfort fight on Triller this weekend. We're actually going to be there, and it was funny. I was talking.
Actually, so you're not going to comment it from wherever in the closed dining room at Bedminster or wherever
with my father about it, and we watched the original Triller fight when Mike Tyson fought Roy Jones, and we watched it as a family at Camp David, and I was listening to him talk about these fights, and I'd almost totally forgotten, with all of the craziness and everything that he's done, exactly how knowledgeable he was about all the fights from all those years. The Atlantic City casinos hosting the earliest UFC fights, the biggest boxing matches perhaps in the world at the time. And so,
yeah, they were in buildings he was associated with that later failed.
We watched that fight as a family, and now we're going to be there live in Miami on Saturday night commentating on it. So if you want to watch, text Trump to 75303.
Why?
TRUMP to 75303. We'll get you the details. You can sign up, watch the pay-per-view, listen to me and my father commentate on the fight.
By the way, I think you have to do it that way or they don't get credit. This is like a rev share version of things. So there's probably multiple groups doing this kind of shit, and they just bring in groups and you can kind of talk about it. It's basically Cameo.
We'd probably be watching it anyway.
He does kind of look strokish. It's true.
This way you guys get to listen like you're in the living room with us.
Ew. I don't know that that's a positive thing. Wow, that was a heavy hit. That was, I don't know where that came from. I don't know. Oh, my God. Oh, Don, what are you sniffing? Don't Bogart. Oh, what a hit that was. Oh, yeah, well, it's like you're in the living room with him.
I think it's going to be really cool.
Greg Kelly's, too much teeth. Oh. Sorry.
You got some other great supporters actually fighting. Obviously, Vitor's pretty outspoken about it. Evander's been very outspoken about it. But you have Tito Ortiz.
It's not enough that Trump is getting his own supporters killed from COVID. He also wants to see 2 of them fight.
He's fighting in the undercard against Anderson Silva. You have a couple other great fighters. You have some great entertainment.
This is just an ad.
It should just really be a fun opportunity. You get to hear
fun opportunity,
uncensored, unfiltered. Again, it's pay-per-view, but Triller is hosting it. Triller, so you guys understand, one of the only, maybe the only, if I can recall, social media platform that didn't throw Trump off and try to ban him for a ridiculous.
Yeah, because they didn't even notice he was there.
Nonsense like we've seen. That's pretty awesome. A platform that is for free speech. Again, for the other side's free speech.
Wait a minute. So you're just getting the right to call this from the place, in your own booth? Triller isn't putting this on, are they?
But I think we can all agree we are actually for free speech. So happy to help them out and do something.
Well, apparently not. There's a bunch of people you want canceled because of some bullshit like CRT.
Cool here, but just happy to listen to it. When I was talking with my father about this one, it was, again, just amazing to hear about he remembered the guys and their weight class.
Imagine being amazed that your father can remember shit.
So when they tried moving up, this became a disaster. And when they did this, it was really cool. And probably a different side of Trump that...
Oh my God, this is dull. I will watch it and record it, and we'll see if we can mess with it a little bit on our end tomorrow night. I don't need to, like... Ugh. But let's see what he's saying here. Outside, near a riverboat. What's happening?
Discover Card. I just got my cashback match. Is this for real? Yep. We match all the cashback new card members earn at the end of their first year automatically. Whoa, I got my money. It's hard to contain yourself, isn't it? Uh-huh.
You guys have ever seen, you've seen the...
Get a dollar for dollar match at the end of your first year, only from Discover.
Well, guys,
by the way, how is that ad not oddly cultural appropriation? Just like kind of just two Asian chicks acting black, like... It's not that's not weird. I mean, I don't necessarily care, but considering how up in arms people get, I see that ad all the time, and it strikes me as very strange. Anyways, back to this lunatic.
Incompetence never ends. I mean,
Well, yeah. His presidency is going to last exactly 4 years. And then he'll run again and win again, and then that term will be another 4 years. Your dad's incompetency will never end. Luckily, it's been disarmed.
Wake up every day and I'm just shocked. Meaning, you think that it...
Define shocked? Okay, this is Don Jr.'s definition of shocked.
Get any worse. You think there's no way that someone who claims to be an American could do a worse job or add to the insanity, and yet
And then you get a text from your dad.
Day I wake up and I'm proven wrong, like time and time
again. Like my dad doesn't even know what time the fight is, and I keep having to tell him, and he remember like the size of the shorts of everybody who played in like 1993, but he doesn't know tomorrow's Saturday and it's 9/11.
Again, today.
Yeah, his notes are totally. He set him on something to his left.
I read that 4.
You're still reading it now. What do you mean today you read? You are reading.
4 Taliban terrorists from Afghanistan who were detained in Guantanamo Bay prison in Cuba for years that were traded, plus another one, 5, were traded for Bo Bergdahl, an
American.
Deserter, traitor.
Yeah, but he has the right to be tried for that. And he was being held hostage, so we traded for him. By the way, how many Americans... Let's look it up, shall we? Trump... It's got to be something... Let's see. Let's try it here. Yes, the Trump administration in 2020 agreed to the release of 5,000 Taliban prisoners. Ladies and gentlemen, 5,000 Taliban. 5,000, not 5. Obama 5. Trump 5,000. 5,001 technically, because Bardar, the guy who's the deputy prime minister right now, he was released from a Pakistani jail, and that was part of the negotiation as well. So there you go. Peace talks between the Afghanistan government and the Taliban, which never made substantial progress, didn't begin until after the release of prisoners. Didn't begin at all, actually. We now know. Taliban, on August 15th, seized control of the Afghanistan government for the first time in nearly 20 years. The question, did Trump administration agree to release 5,000 Taliban prisoners? The answer, true. Yes, as a part of a deal made with the Taliban in 2020, the administration agreed to the release of up to 5,000 Taliban prisoners in exchange for the release of up to 1,000 prisoners of the other side, which, we now know could be the Afghan government forces, or could be ISIS-K, or it could be, any number of like tribal opponents in Afghanistan. February 29th, 2020, in Doha, Qatar, U.S. Secretary Mike Pompeo said the agreement was a historic opportunity and the first step towards potential peace in Afghanistan. Mitch McConnell welcomed the agreement, although warned the U.S. must be vigilant in dealing with the Taliban. You think? Pelosi called it an important initial step, but much more work needed to be done to preserve peace. That's true. Never was done. Let's see. And there were several conditions as part of the agreement. That include the pledge that the U.S. would withdraw its troops by May 1st, 2021. Yes, former Trump made a deal with the Taliban to pull U.S. troops out of Afghanistan by May 2021. Former President Donald Trump made a deal to remove U.S. forces by May 2021, but Biden extended the withdrawal deadline to September 11th. And they got out before September 11th. That was always the plan. The question, did former President Trump make a deal with the Taliban to remove U.S. forces by May 2021? Yes, indeed. Former President Donald Trump made a deal with the Taliban to remove U.S. forces by May 2021, although the deal was contingent on a few factors. One of them was releasing 5,000 Taliban from jail. That was one of the factors. Kind of important. There you go.
Someone who deserted his friends in the military and went off into Afghanistan to probably...
Yeah, technically speaking, we didn't necessarily know that as a fact at the time because they thought he might have gotten separated. There's a lot to it. Still, not going to leave them behind. We save our soldiers even when it comes to trying them in a military tribunal and they get court-martialed and all that shit.
Go work for the other side, whatever the story is.
Hey. Sorry, whatever was the story. Let's see. Bo Bergdahl. Let's see. Bo Bergdahl. Bergdahl. Whoops. I'm in the wrong thing. I'm not even typing. Bo Bergdahl. There it is. Bo Bergdahl. When it comes to Bo, we all fail. Justin Martin moves to dismiss. Oh, that's weird. 8/19/20. The U.S. government has filed a motion to dismiss Bergdahl's petition to move his military conviction and sentence overturned. I see. Huh? Oh, I see. Because he was called a dirty traitor, and so he didn't get a fair trial was the idea. Let's be a backstory. There you go. Bergdahl, who abandoned his post in June 2009 on a deployment to Paktika province, Afghanistan, was subsequently captured by the Taliban, held as a prisoner of war for nearly 5 years. He was ultimately released and returned to the U.S. through a controversial prisoner exchange involving the release of 5 Taliban detainees held at Guantanamo Bay. While Bergdahl was received with a celebratory welcome at the White House upon his May 2014 return, public opinion rapidly turned against him as the facts for his disappearance and capture became known. See, we knew he was gone for 5 years, and then we find out it became known. He ultimately pled guilty at a court-martial to desertion and misbehavior, was sentenced in November 2017 to a dishonorable discharge, reduction of grade of private, and forfeiture of $1,000 in salary per month for 10 months. As at issue in his appeal is whether his fair prosecution was jeopardized by the statements of senior leaders on the campaign trail. Trump repeatedly called Bergdahl a dirty, rotten traitor. After he became president, his comments were more reserved, but he pointedly referred to his previous remarks on the subject. It's not going to get overturned because he filed a guilty plea. Never in the history of the modern military justice system has there been a case in which the highest level figures, including the commander-in-chief, have sought to publicly demean and defame a specific military accused. Sparks wrote, oh, look at that. Colonel, let's see, Air Force Judge John E. Sparks, no relation that I know of, also said that Bergdahl's charges should have been dismissed. Oh, Sparks boys, we're all softies. Hold on a second. Move this over here. There you go.
A traitor. Guys went out to rescue him, not knowing Americans were killed because of this clown. And we traded 5 Taliban terrorists to get back this piece of garbage. Now we find out 4 of those 5 Taliban terrorists that
are all working under the guy that Trump got released from a Pakistani jail. All 4 of the guys traded for Bo Bergdahl are their superior officer is Abdul Baradar, who Trump got released from a Pakistani jail. All 4 of those guys are not together, combined, are not worth Baradar. There you go.
in Guantanamo Bay, I imagine for cause, are
well, keep imagining.
Now part of Taliban leadership. They're like on the cabinet. Okay?
Okay, they're guys, they're on the cabinet. They're probably sitting on the desk. They're probably sitting on the table too. They're kind of a bunch of uncivilized dudes, so they probably, they're probably giving upper deckers in all the toilets. They're probably using the chairs upside down. They're a nutty bunch, the Taliban. They're on the cabinet, okay?
That's what this administration, this is like the most Biden-Obama, because that was Obama and Biden.
Uh-huh.
Now it's just Biden, but it feels like it's a continuation because that's...
What? Why is it a continuation? We got an American soldier back who was being held hostage by the Taliban, even though he was a deserter, the abandoning his post and then getting lost, which is effectively what he did, is not capital punishment. It's not a capital crime. And if we'd have found out later that he'd been drugged and taken from his position and been held hostage, or been told to say that he abandoned his post by his captors, and we'd have let them die, you think these assholes would be coming to the defense of the Obama-Biden administration for leaving Bo Bergdahl there?
Really the most Obama-Biden deal ever.
Well, yeah, I agree. 4 guys that are, kind of underlings in exchange for an American life, however flawed, versus 5,000 Taliban, including fighters that killed our soldiers, in exchange for nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing. Yeah. No American lives, no guaranteed safety for those folks.
Full of incompetence, right? It's same as leaving 65, whatever it is, billion worth of military equipment.
Yeah, get the number right. It's 2, and most of it's not functional anymore. It was 85 over the course. And by the way, this is him curtailing that number down to 65 because they have to recognize that all the gear that we destroyed in 2014 before we were going to leave, and then again in 2016 before we were going to leave, and then we didn't leave because Trump kept us in for 4 years.
To the Taliban. It's the same as leaving Americans and deserting our military bases and any airports before we get out actual American citizens. You notice?
Wait a minute. Why is it okay to release 5,000 Taliban from jail before we leave? I mean, I don't want to shit on young Don here, but let's just say you're making the argument that we should have taken out the military last after we got everybody else out, or whatever that argument is. One would certainly think that in the deal you make with the Taliban, don't fire on us, we'll be out by May 1st, and on May 1st, we'll negotiate that the 5,000 Taliban fighters that you want will be released then. Let's see if that was the case. When were 5,000 Taliban released? So, yeah, you guys didn't wait until we were out. Your dad didn't wait until the American forces had removed all of our embassy staff or any of the Afghans that were helping us or any of those folks before releasing these Taliban fighters. This is from May 2020, May 26th. Afghan government releases hundreds of Taliban prisoners as part of peace deal with U.S. The Afghan government released hundreds of Taliban prisoners Tuesday. Its single largest prisoner release since the U.S. and Taliban signed a peace deal earlier this year that spells out an exchange of detainees. The government announced it would release 900 Taliban prisoners as a 3-day ceasefire with the insurgents draws to an end. A 3-day ceasefire. That's good. That's worth 900 guys. Taliban had called for the truce during the Muslim holiday of Eid al-Fitr. Yeah, that marks the end of the Islamic holy month of Ramadan. Let's see if there's another number. The prisoners were being released from Bagram prison, where the U.S. still maintains a major military base north of Kabul, from the Pula Sharqi prison and the eastern of the Afghan capital. By late afternoon, the AP witnessed scores of men pouring out of the Bagram compound, presumably released prisoners. It wasn't immediately possible to verify their numbers or whether they were all Taliban members. They were transported on 6 buses parked outside the prison. An official at Bagram said 525 men were released, but he spoke on condition of anonymity because he wasn't authorized to speak to the media. I'm sure none of these guys are in the government. They look, they've got their little kids with them. That and when I say theirs, I don't mean sons. Let's see. A remarkable number of government. He called the Afghan government's release of 900 good progress. The Taliban political spokesperson Suhail Shaheen in Doha said that it was good progress. Under the deal, Kabul is to release 5,000 prisoners, while the insurgents release 500. And Ghani enjoyed the bring the numbers. Okay, here it is. A national security spokesman in Kabul urged the Taliban to extend the ceasefire and said the government would release 900 prisoners Tuesday. That would bring to 2,000 the number of Taliban prisoners released so far under the U.S. Taliban deal. The Taliban say they have released 240 captives. However, the Taliban have yet to confirm whether the release so far by the government were among the 5,000 names the insurgents had given to the U.S. So they might be releasing these fuckers and then another 5,000. Great. So there were 2,000 on top of the 5,000. So let's just call it 7,000, you assholes. Jesus. Guys, only art of the deal, guys.
Trend here with the Democrats, it's always America last.
No. In this case, it was when your dad was in office, it was Taliban first. The Taliban fighters were released before we got our people out.
100,000+ Afghan refugees we rescued in the biggest airlift ever. Minor details. There's some rapists in there. There's people on ISIS watch lists in there. They're not really vetted. We know that.
Well, ISIS watch lists? Yeah, all of the Afghans are on ISIS watch lists.
And we left the Americans because this administration.
And we left the Americans because they wanted to stay.
And really, the Democrat policy in general is always America.
This is the new hammering phrase. He's trying to say America last a bunch.
Last. If you're an American, you're last. That's what.
Well, no, actually, they got out before the evacuees. You know, the translators and those folks, and there was some bottlenecking because we were getting out Americans first.
The State Department isn't letting privately funded planes trying to get American citizens out of Afghanistan. They're saying they're not going to let them into the country. They're not.
Well, that's because they'll get killed. Because they're arranging for all this stuff, and they're not going to have a bunch of dumb fucks, cowboys, flying in there and then getting shot out of the sky, and then we have to go in and rescue these assholes.
Letting them go. The Taliban is holding some of these flights hostage, and they're saying, well, we're not.
They're not holding it hostage. Not everybody has paperwork to leave the country. And by the way, some of them could be rapists for all you know. And if they do, they probably bunk with your dad.
Releasing them to say, well, they're not captive. They're not captive anymore, right? They're not under the control of the Taliban. The Taliban's not letting them leave. Of course they're captives. Of course.
No, not of course. They don't have travel documents. They don't have passports. A lot of people don't even know who the fuck they are. We're not letting some of the planes leave because we don't know everybody.
Gosh. They're hostages. They're very clear to say they're not, but they can't leave. They can't exercise their free will because that's...
Because it's Afghanistan, fucko.
You get when you have Democrats who put America...
Sorry, but all during the Trump administration, none of our soldiers could just leave Afghanistan. Not a one. They would have been Bo Bergdahl in a hurry.
last. Keep watching, guys, because you and I both know it's only going to get worse.
Well, these videos, yeah, I completely agree. I think they're only going to get worse. And also, there's no point. They're never going to be happy with anything that the Biden administration does. There's just no way. So, but they're going to have to grind this up every day, try to make it worse than it is ShamWow. He does sound a bit ShamWowy, I have to say. He behaves like he has a learning chromosomal disorder. I wouldn't doubt it. Keep watching, guys. None of this is going to end up meaning a goddamn thing. This is the rantings of a dude in his yard into his camera who needs to make coke money off of Rumbles. And he's going to be calling a boxing match on a social media website that's paying them for the promotion tomorrow night on 9/11 because never forget what? Seriously, is he going to... one would think Trump has to do either some kind of an interview or a statement or something on the anniversary to kind of draw attention away from the fact that he's calling a boxing match tomorrow night. I mean, it's gross. Like, I remember when, like, it would have been bad if he just golfed. Yeah, this is just... Yeah, Holyfield is 59, yeah. Trump will hug the flag. I have no idea, but we'll see parts of it. I'll show you parts of it. I don't know what the legal issue would be with replaying chunks of it or something like that. I may cut out the actual boxing scenery and just use the commentary chunks or something, but I'll figure out a way to get it. Ugh. And show you some of the highlights on Monday, I think. But I think the biggest thing to take away from today is that not only am I the only person pointing out that the vaccine mandate is not a mandate, it's actually a testing mandate, and even then it's optional. Secondarily, that there is no end to the lies from the right, from Ben Shapiro and everybody, that it is a mandate because you have to believe Joe Biden is a tyrant, or you just won't, stay freaked out long enough to vote next year and the year after that. And meanwhile, they have to convince you that your vote matters when they don't actually, they know it does, but they know that the vast majority of Trump supporters don't believe for a second that, their vote is going to be counted, that they still believe the Mike Lindell thing. So why would you bother to show up? I think you'll see a statistically significant number of Republicans protesting at voting booths more so than voting themselves in a lot of different areas. Not voting, but standing outside, waving Trump flags and saying it's all fake and, calling out anybody who looks different. So anyways, I got to prep for tomorrow. I will see you guys tomorrow for the radio show. And tomorrow's show will be, like I said, we'll deal with some of the statements people put out about 9/11 on the anniversary. The fact that we are no longer in Afghanistan is an extraordinary thing. Yes, vote no on the recall. Make sure you vote. If you didn't get your ballot, go to your county clerk's office. Say you didn't get one, get a provisional one there early. And then, there's actually a voting day coming up, which would be fantastic. But a lot of people are going to turn out for that as well to tell them to go pound sand. But yeah, a lot of Republicans are just simply not voting anymore. And that's the number that a lot of them have to face. And in the recall election, little things like that, they've already said it's rigged, they're rigging it because the turnout's going to suck, because nobody's going to, there's not enough of the same people who voted for the recall are going to go vote in the recall for for doing it. But that's not as significant a number as they would like you to have. So I'll be fascinated to watch it. I'm not concerned, genuinely. And I think it's a really good sign, a sign of a brighter future, that Trump is having to call hack matchup boxing matches for cash. And he needs it. And he's amazed by the amount of money. He said it was an obscene amount of money, which means, and again, what billionaire knows what the fuck an obscene amount of money is. Only somebody who knows they're like, I'm cheating these people. They're definitely not getting their money's worth. This is obscene. So be buoyed, I would say, emotionally by the fact that, that Trump is not going to end up with a book deal. His book's going to be, I mean, like, his book he'll eventually put something out about being a winner and then how to lose with grace. I don't know what the heck it could be called. I won twice even though I lost. How to be a winner even when you lose, right? I mean, he would sell copies to the Heritage Foundation. But you should be uplifted slightly by the fact that Trump is going to be, is having to do this kind of thing for cash. That the fact that Don Jr., if I or somebody like me at my level of fame and knowledge just doing Cameo to, feed my kid and keep my lights on and be able to go on a vacation or those kind of things, or go see Kiss live. Although my buddy Steven got the tickets. Thanks, Steve. I was in charge of merch and food. So, that's not that big a deal. It's within the realm of my level of fame and reach. When the son of the former president has to do it, or when Rudy Giuliani has to do it, that's fucking sad. In a funny way. All right, I'm going to let you guys go. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. And thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a great night.
Brains.